Friends, and welcome. My name's Popeye, and today we're playing some more Igarashi Chapter 6, Tsumihoroboshi, or the Atonement Arc. Before we get into it, this game has some trigger warnings that I want everyone to be aware of. If any of these things is not for you, please by all means find someplace that make you feel better tonight. This game includes themes such as murder, torture, rape, kidnapping, self-harm, body horror, blood, gore, any of those things against a minor. If you missed any of what I said, either ask me to repeat it or check down below in the description where I have a list of all of those. And for those of you who missed it, we're now doing Higurashi only on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Wednesdays, we've just started Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2, which I don't think really has any trigger warnings other than just some language. It's a pretty standard T for teen game. I don't even think there's blood from what I recall. But yes, that's now on Wednesdays. So what happened last time? Rena had been going through these scrapbooks that she got from Mio after she finds out that Mio is dead and comes across a bunch of these theories about conspiracies in Hinamizawa. She shares those with Keiichi late at night, and Keiichi initially believes everything, thinks it sounds plausible. They agree that they can't tell anyone else because they don't know who could be coming after them. And Keiichi wants to tell their friends, but one of the conspiracies is that the Sonozaki house, which Mion is the acting head of, is leading a bunch of these conspiracies, so they agree not to tell her. Well, the next day, Keiichi tells her anyways, and doesn't, I guess, tell her, just kind of asks some questions like, hey, have you done any of this? Could this be possible? And Mion at that point refutes everything he said, everything he asks, and he's like, oh, all this stuff sounds very logical to me. I guess I was just like, hyped up and in that headspace last night, after we had been stalked, quote unquote. But Rena is far from convinced. She is fully convinced that people are after her, and that her house is no longer safe. The people that she thought were following her were gardeners, air quotes, to be determined, and they came to the school to take care of the field. She thought that they were in cahoots with the teacher and principal and were out to kill her. So she skips school, runs back home, decides home isn't safe either, packs a bag with stuff, goes to the store, buys all the things that she thinks she'll need to last several months on the land, and then goes to her secret hideout, the car, and hunkers down for... her plan is to stay there several months and see how far she can get, and hopefully she can come up with a plan in that time. I think that about covers it. So we're currently Rena in her base, and she's trying to figure out what to do next. One thing I don't like about this game is the log here. It just goes away. I don't know why. It should be fairly easy for them to just load the last 100 lines of dialogue, but no. Hello, Sam says, yes, I am your friend, and you missed the repetitive content warnings and the summary. You just see, so now what? You just get to see what's happening now. How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I need to calm down, stay cool, but also think fast. That's how Sonic does it. It may not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry. I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go. But you missed the end of last stream due to being an adult. All you need to know is Rena told Keiichi the conspiracy stuff she read. Keiichi then goes and talks to Mion, and Mion's like, no, all that stuff's fake and here's why, and she lays down, for each point a counterpoint. lays it down logically, and Keiichi's like, oh, I guess you're right. I guess I was being foolish. But Rena's like, nope, they're gonna kill me. I'm running away from home and living in this abandoned car in the dump now. That about covers it. Now that I've come to this point, I should tell Oishi-san everything. It's highly likely he's... Wait, was that... Okay, so I was like, wait, you should tell him everything even though it's highly likely he's an enemy? But that's what she said. That doesn't matter anymore. It's true, I'd just declare war. If he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in this village that stands in a place where it's hard for people to spot you. That phone booth is also the only one we've actually drawn, which makes perfect sense. It stands in the middle of nowhere, where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather on the light when it's dark. It's not a pleasant place to go to. But I can't think of any other public phones I can use to contact Oishi-san without being seen. Even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Oishi-san is holed up in the station since Miya-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him any time. I have the number for the direct line to his office, too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. You should always adult. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. After I thought about what I could do, I found that there was something I wanted to confirm. Something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyways. That seems potentially unsafe and frowned upon in work environments. I mean, depends on your work environment. You work at like a club? Adult things probably allowed. Encouraged even. Maybe even part of like your interview and resume. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. Made my decision and left the hideout. Hello, Avier. How's it going? And it looks like we're back to being Keiichi because the text is now white. Rena's father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. You can drink 10 adult drinks in 1 hour? I wouldn't do that. That doesn't sound like a very good thing to do. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell. A police officer from the Hinamizawa police station had shown up. I rushed to get there. He was breathing hard. Why is he resident, not police officer?
状況をお伺いします。確かに施錠して出て行ったんです。そうしたらまず家の扉が開きっぱなしになってまして。
He led the police officer into the house.
それで私の部屋の手提げ金庫がまんまとやられまして。ご主人、これはその時のまま？触ってない？ええ。犯人の指紋とかあるだろうと思いまして金庫には触れてません。ただ中身を確認したので中のものには少し触れています。それで取られたものは貯金通帳と印鑑は大丈夫だったんですが中に入ってた現金を全部。通帳と印鑑大丈夫だったんですか？そりゃあ不幸中の幸いでしたね。最近は通帳から足がつくと思ってプロは現金しか持ってかないんですよね。こりゃあだいぶ手慣れた空き巣かな。金庫ごと持ってかないでこの場で開けちゃうってんだから相当のプロだね。でお金はどのくらいやられちゃって？ちょっと数えてなかったんですが多分1万円札で100枚近くはあったと思います。そう。それだけの現金が入ってること誰かに知らせた？いえ誰にも知らせてはいませんが。 あの女たちならこの家に金があることを知っていたかも。あの女？ちょっとお話を聞かせていただけますか？実はあまりみっともいい話じゃないんでお恥ずかしいんですが、間宮里奈という女とですね。
Just then the phone rang.
すみません、ちょっと出てきますね。すぐ戻ります。
Grab the phone.
はい、竜宮です。
あ、すみません。前原と申しますが、レナさんはいらっしゃいますか？
レーナはまだ帰ってきてません。
まだ帰ってない？
いや、申し訳ないんですが、ちょっと今立て込んでます。遊びの電話でしたらまたかけ直していただけますかね。申し訳ないですね。失礼いたします。
He hung up after that. Oh, we don't get like the old like sound after you hang up the phone. The only good part about those phones. I was stunned. Didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It's hard to find this place at all because it blends perfectly in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged, as if nothing had happened. That's why at first I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stuck a shovel in the ground. I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all. Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. I know I didn't bury them deeper than this. I wasn't expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to do that to kill some time. I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing. So I came here to check that the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure they were still there, and I'd feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. Such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out into a cold sweat. What's going on? I don't need to calm down to think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it, and for what purpose? Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here? Did they dig them out after we left? What if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It's before the Watanagashi festival. The police did find the corpses. When Oishi contacted me, he had to know about Rena and Teppy. He didn't tell me anything about them. I don't think he was hiding anything on purpose either. That means the police don't know about Rena and Teppy yet. Then why are the corpses gone? That would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. The first person who comes to mind is Mion, the Sonozaki family, but I can't think of a reason why they would do that. The murder of Rena and Teppy has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. We must want to stay away from this as far away from this case as possible. Why would they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a Joker even though you'll lose if you have the Joker by the end of the game. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was club president? The Joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier, but it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time, I realized it. They are one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a Joker, as a wild card, trying to use them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family is trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I can no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. So they're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rena and Teppy. The police started seeing me as a suspect. They never listened to my story. They could have been my last hope. This will certainly turn them against me. I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their Joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mion Sonozaki helped bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Oishi tonight and ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Oishi will believe me. This is a gamble. My chance of winning is very, very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the Joker, the bag with the corpses inside. I'm impressed with Mion. It's just what I'd expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on, but to Mion this is like a board game, taking place across Hinamizawa itself. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do, because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time, that became the literal truth. There could be only one reason why they're trying so hard to drive me into a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed I was just a little girl with no power running around about in confusion, but my enemy must not be thinking that way. They didn't think I was a threat to them. They wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a Joker, but so do I. The Joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that it can break their plot into pieces. You can think of a PG name for the other drink. I mean, depends what it is. You've got wheat water, you got potato water, you got grape juice. Cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. Well, this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. Found out about the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. Felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I didn't need to be here any longer. Oh, what did I miss? They know this place, they might come here to find me. Not safe for me to stay here for long. Honey bourbon. American bee juice? I don't know. I decided to go back to my hideout. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. My father was talking to a police officer. I strained to catch the conversation. My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle.
わかりました。もしお嬢さんが帰られましたらご連絡をください。こちらの方でも探してみます。
Michan, you're good. Did you already play your Joker? Mion always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation, and wins. Seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Oishi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. No. That's why I'm going to talk to Oishi. He sees the Sonozaki family as his enemy, and he's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was part of their trap from the very beginning. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side. Their Joker's actually giving me hope. Oishi is one of them. It would be too early to play their Joker. So Oishi isn't one of them. That's why they got the Joker, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait, that might be a trick to make me think that way in order to make me trust Oishi. Okay, we're going like 3 steps deep. We're into like triple crossing. When Mion gives me 2 choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. When you think about a choice too much, you're already in her trap. I'm gonna do as I planned, and call Oishi after it gets dark. He's gonna become my ally. We can talk about the future. And if he isn't, that I realized was what I had to think about before it got dark.
いえいえ、時間のことは気にしないでください。
So I think this is a good moment to take a step back and point out one of the cool Easter eggs in this game. So we've been following Rena from the start where she's, just normal, happy-go-lucky, to now when she's completely paranoid and thinking everyone's out to get her. At the very start of the game, when we're switching between Keiichi and Rena, the way they differentiate the two of them is by the color of their text. Keiichi is the white text, and Rena is the pink text. If you look down below, you'll notice that the text is no longer pink. It's slowly been fading to red, blood red, as she gets more and more paranoid. There's your cool Easter egg about this game.
残業代はついちゃいませんが、ちゃんと勤務中ですので。
I started the conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Oishi is one of them. He's their pawn. He'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not. I'll have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. When do we get the butterscotch? My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Oishi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story. I'd have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start.
以前も少し話しましたが、やっぱり私、何者かに狙われてるみたいです。
それは本当ですか？
ええ。以前までは、ひょっとすると気のせいかもしれないと思う程度だったのですが、昨日あたりから間違いないと思うレベルになりました。
間違いないレベルと言いますと？
数台の車が私の身辺を伺っているようなんです。うちの1台は白いワゴン車で、造園屋に偽装した4人の特攻隊と思われる人間が乗っています。
特攻隊というと、園崎家の暗殺部隊の？
はい、おそらくそうに違いないと思います。今日、学校にまで詰めかけてきました。あわやのところで逃れましたが、危ないところでした。し
かし、なんだって急に。まさか竜宮さんが富武殺しについて嗅ぎ回っているとでも思い込んだんですかね。
Wish she hadn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. It sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tomitake's murder. As I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction.
実はですね、ついさっき嫌な話を耳にしました。もうちょっとちゃんと調べてからお耳に入れたかったのですが、お互い新情報を知ったら伝える約束です。ですので、とりあえずお話しておきます。実は、沖宮の園崎組で悪い動きがあるらしいんです。
園崎組で悪い動きですか？
ええ。ちょっとショックな話かもしれません。実は、若い衆に人探しを命じているという話なんですがね。
人探し？
My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that. Are they...
私もにわかには信じられません。探しているのはあなたらしいんですよ。竜宮レナを探させているそうなんです。まだ仕入れたばかりの情報なんで何が狙いかはつかめていませんが、あなたの名前が出ていることだけは間違いありません。
私が身に危険を感じ始めているという話、信じてもらえますか？
ねえ、互いの話がきれいに一致します。竜宮さん、これはどういうことですか？お心当たりは？
What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Oishi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a
大石さん
question.
の方で何かわかりませんか？私には全然どうしてだか。
私だってわかりません。園崎組があなたという個人を狙って動くなんて考えられない。でも事実なんです。 信頼できる筋から得た情報で紛れはありません。
園崎組が私に関心があるのではなく、園崎本家が私に関心があるというのはどうですか？
こういった動きはめったに見せるものではありません。例えば組の上納金の持ち逃げがあったとか、そういうトラブルがあった時にはこういう騒ぎもあったりします。でもそれは大抵組関係の業界の話で、仇である個人が対象となるなんて前例がありません。
私がその貴重な一例目であるのは嬉しいですが、前例がないで済まされちゃこっちはたまらないです。
まあ、竜宮さん、落ち着いて落ち着いて。今度は竜宮さんが話す番じゃないんですか？
何をですか？
竜宮さん、園崎組がこういう動きを見せることはおいそれとあることじゃありません。何かの誤解にしたってなかなかあることじゃない。心当たりはありませんか？竜宮さんにとっては何気ない何かが彼らを誤解させている可能性もあります。私の読みでは連中、あなたが園崎本家周辺を嗅ぎ回っていて、何かとんでもない事実をつかんだ。もしくはそれは竜宮さんが日々の生活でしてしまうような些細なものじゃない。もっと目立つ何かです。本当に心当たりはありませんか？
Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out. This is it. Make your decision, Renorigu.
多分私がミオさん
I
の
was
スクラ
half
ップ帳を
expecting that to be the choice point for this
預かっている
game.
からだと思います。
And I would have been mad because there's so much of the game left.
ミオさん、高野ミオのスクラップ帳ですか。そいつは一体。
He was my enemy. He wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. His voice remained steady and didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks.
はい、実は私、ミオさんが殺される数日前に彼女と図書館で出会って、その時に意気投合して彼女に研究をまとめたスクラップ帳を数冊預けられたんです。
研究をまとめた？
はい、ミオさんはひなみ沢村の歴史について深く研究していたんです。そしてそれらを数冊のスクラップ帳にまとめていました。奴らはミオさんを殺した時、スクラップ帳が何冊か足りないのに気づき、それを私に託していたことを気づいたのだと思います。
奴らの狙いはスクラップ帳？リグさん、それは一体何なんですか？
ひなみ沢がかつて鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていた太古の昔についての研究をまとめたものです。お社様信仰の発祥について書かれています。
お社様信仰？人食い鬼の末裔が仙人になってっていう？
ええ、ミオさんはその研究の中でお社様信仰についてのある重大な秘密を暴いたんです。その研究結果はお社様を神聖であると崇める人たちにとっては極めて冒涜的な内容でした。
なるほどなるほど。信仰の特に盲信的な連中にはその研究の存在が許せなかった。
Oishi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he
彼らは
spoke.
ミオさんを消し、そのミオさんが残したスクラップ帳も葬ろうとしているんです。最初のうちは私が持っているのかどうか分かりかねているようだったんですが、昨日を境に疑わしきは殺せという方針に変わったように感じています。
なるほど。それは好ましい状況ではありませんね。あなたの身辺を警戒させましょう。あとそのスクラップ帳を拝見させてください。高野殺しの何かの手がかりになるかもしれない。
あ、いえ、警察の内部にも奴らの手先が混じっている可能性が高いです。ですから身辺の警戒は結構です。自分の身は自分で守ります。あとスクラップ帳も同じです。彼らはそれを抹消しようとするでしょう。たとえ警察の中であっても。
園崎組があなた一人をターゲットに動いている以上、もしこれが園崎本家の頂上からの指令なら、 その可能性は確かにありますね。園崎本家が敵だった場合、悔しいですが私たちの中にも内通者がいないとは限りません。
そういうことです。ですから私のことは気にしないでください。それよりお願いがあります。とてもとても重要なお願いです。
言ってください。何ですか？
ミオさんの研究によるならば、今ひなみ沢の闇に恐ろしい陰謀があり、それが遠くないうちに実行されそうなんです。
陰謀？それは一体何です？
Got tense all of a sudden. I tell him everything. It's gonna sound like a big lie. Should leave out the bizarre sounding parts for now. Actually make the story more
奴
credible.
らの正体はお社様信仰の信者たちです。奴らは明治以降すっかり下火になってしまったお社様信仰の意向を取り戻し、太古の鬼ヶ淵村の時代のような厳格な信仰を復活させようとしているんです。
続けてください。メモしてます。
ミオさんの研究によると、お社様伝説の根底には大昔のある風土病の存在があるんです。その風土病の猛威がお社様のたたりと恐れられ、それを治療できる医者的存在がお社様と崇められ、村を支配した。
そうだったんですか。なるほど。続けて。
その風土病は土着のある特殊な寄生虫によるものだったんです。ですが長い世代を繰り返すうちに徐々に無害になっていき、ご存知の通り今では何事もありません。彼らにとって風土病が無害ではお社様のたたりがなく、たたりがなければ救いも必要ない。だからお社様の神聖性が保てないわけです。
それを復活させようとしたら、それはつまり風土病を蘇らせるということを意味するわけですかな。
そうです。奴らはお社様伝説をゼロからもう一度やり直し、お社様の降臨をそのため古代の強力な風土病を再発させる原始の寄生虫を研究していたと思われます。連続開始事件の正体はこの研究結果を試すものだったんです。そして富武さんに対して古文書に残る氏脇病を再現できた。奴らは5年かけて原始の力を持つ寄生虫を復活させたんです。
なんてこった。
奴らの最終的な目的はその寄生虫をばらまき、お社様に帰依する者のみを特効薬で救い、お社様信者のみの楽園を作ろうとしているんです。
それは間違いなく事実でしょうね。
このスクラップ帳にはその寄生虫がひなみ沢の人間のほぼ全員に寄生している事実が書かれています。医学的根拠に基づいていて、その寄生を間違いなく裏付けます。
信じられない。お寮のババアめ、ほっときゃいつでもお迎えが来るだろうに。自分一人じゃ三途の川一つ渡らないのか。こいつは無差別テロだぞ。なんてこった。
本来の寄生虫はひなみ沢一帯にしか適用できませんでしたが、彼らはその競技の傾向からより広域にわたって寄生虫が環境適応できるよう改良を加えている可能性が高いです。ひなみ沢だけにとどまらない。沖宮を飲み込むか、市内全域に及ぶか、県全体にまで及ぶか。
くそったり。どうすりゃいいんだ、くそ。首謀者は誰です？
ひなみ沢御三家。おそらくは園崎家の当主でしょう。ただしお寮が主会なのか、お寮すらも駒なのかは分かりません。私には奴らを奴らと呼ぶことしかできない。その規模も全くわからないんです。
その研究がどこで行われているか分かりますか？そこを押さえます。
それはこのスクラップ帳にも書かれていません。大石さんの方で見当はつきませんか？
そんな寄生虫だのなんだのの研究をしてるってことは、かなり改造拳銃ぐらいならガレージを改造して秘密工場にもできるだろうが、寄生虫じゃそうはいかないでしょう。
ミオさんは 入江診療所に勤めている看護師でした。入江診療所が怪しいということはありませんか？ひなみ沢の規模から見て立派すぎるのが前から不審だと思っていました。
はあ、入江診療所か。
They needed a specially designed facility with advanced airtight containment, among other considerations, to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with the clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliche. First, I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center. That actually sounds a little too unrealistic.
とにかくそれがどこかはわかりません。
You don't think they could remodel parasites in a garage? I mean, depends how safe you want your workers to be.
それはどうか大石さんの方で調べてください。怪しげなところを片っ端から調べられないんですか？
ご存知の通り、警察は強制捜査には令状ってもんが必要です。そりゃ後付けで取ることもできますがね。間違いなくそこだという決定的な証拠があった時の話です。
Boy, she's a police officer. He's gonna work as a police officer. He has to follow their rules.
大掛かりな細菌テロが計画されているのだけは事実なんです。しかもミオさんの殺し方の請求さから見て、私は彼らが実行に移す X デーが近いような気がしてなりません。
わかりました、わかりました。こちらの方でも何とかしています。そんなとんでもない計画なら、その先本家も一枚岩ってわけにはいかないでしょう。必ずどこかに胸中で反対している人間がいるはずです。そういう人物と接触できないか、こちらでも探してみます。任せてください。こういうのは私の得意とするところですよ。
Oishi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police before, but Oishi's positive reaction is very reliable. It's what you might call an outlaw. Oishi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. Very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally don't press that button to get menus that they don't want to see. They normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident actually does occur, it's going to be a big
ミオさん
disaster.
はなんて恐ろしい陰謀を暴いたんだろうと恐ろしくなります。
気の毒な最後でした。隣の県の山中でドラム缶の中でこんがりでしてね、気の毒なことです。そういえば、ちょいと彼女のことで変わった話がありましてね。
変わった話ですか？
最初何か事件に関係があるのかなって思ってたんですがね、今のとてつもない陰謀の話に比べたらさまつな話です。多分鑑識のちょっとしたミスでしょう。
いえ、聞かせてください。そういう約束じゃなかったですか？
いえ、隠すつもりなんかありません。ただちょいと夏向きな話だったもんで。リグさん、渡流しの晩を覚えてますか？あの晩の祭りの終わった後です。あなたの仲良し5人組と富武、高野の7人で談笑してますよね。
談笑というほどではありませんでしたが、少し話をしたような気がします。
実はですね、高野の遺体が見つかったのはその晩なわけですが、隣の県警さんの鑑識では死後24時間以上って出ちゃったらしいって噂があるんです。でもそれだと話がおかしい。あの祭りの前の晩には殺されてることになる。
殺されてることになる？
I'm confused. She was found dead on the night of the Watanagashi, and she's been dead for 24 hours. That
早い
means...
話が、渡流しの日には高野はもう死んでることになるんですよ。だからあの祭りの晩に会った彼女は実はゾンビだったのかななんてね。まあ、あちらの鑑識のちょいとしたポカでしょう。
Felt my brain freezing over. Why she laughed, saying it sounded like a horror story from summer camp. But actually, the fact that Mio-san's time of death was off backed up her incredulous theories. I haven't mentioned this into Oishi or Keiichi-kun. I did, they'd start to doubt everything else I've said. It's how absolutely unbelievable this theory is. At any rate, the mismatch with the time of Mio-san's death means a lot. What irony. Mio-san came up with the theory and she proved it correct with her own life. No, not yet. This doesn't prove anything yet. If her theory is true, it might happen again. No way it can be true. I still can't believe it. The way she just said it. That Mio-san was already dead on the night of the festival. How was my day? Busy. So we were supposed to have a client push yesterday. The client has very bad organizational skills, so it was still going on today until I was on a call with them literally 50 minutes before the start of stream. Yeah. But luckily for me, I wasn't the one working on the remaining items. Yeah. How about you, Samus's? Means that the Mio-san who was walking arm in arm with Tomitaki-san on that night wasn't Mio-san. Mio-san was already dead, so that wasn't her. That means she was... I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I hope you got good grape juice. Just drink it in moderation, but I hope it helps make your day a little less sucky. And yes. Yeah. Day after exams, especially when you're not sure if you did well in it. Yeah, I get that. I felt a new sensation, what I'd never felt in my life before. It wasn't an ordinary kind of dread. Oh, and there was more to it? I'm sorry to hear that, Sam. So I already know that that afternoon wasn't that great for you. I'm sorry to hear that it fell apart in the evening as well. No fear is worse than the fear of accepting a truth you don't want to believe. Compared to this fear, the fear of being stalked by the Sonozaki family, or being burned alive in an oil drum, looks silly. It's how deep of a fear I felt. I felt it crawling all over my body.
リュウさん、悪いことは言いません。警察が信用できないお気持ちもわかります。園崎本家は市内全域を牛耳っていますからね。署にも園崎家の御用聞きみたいな連中がいますし、それでも今のあなたは危険だ。それで私個人を信用してはくれませんか。私以外の誰も知らないところにあなたをかくまいます。私をどうか信用してください。
I don't doubt Oichi at this point. I actually think he's very reliable. I would have said yes without a second thought. The situation has drastically changed. Mio-san's death backs up this unbelievable truth. I trust Oishi. I believe he'll find the enemy and take them down. I'd rather protect myself on my own than let someone else do it. The unbelievable truth is real, and I couldn't trust anybody except myself. No, even myself might disappear before me too.
本当にありがとうございます。とにかく奴らの研究所を突き止めて、なんとか陰謀を食い止めてください。
Okay, just reading this. Linux. Discord need an update for the repost and push. Yeah, I saw when I loaded Discord today, it had 15 updates, which I thought was an unreasonable amount of updates. Yeah, Dropbox, I've never been a fan of. I don't know, I found it slow and clunky and not the best compared to other file syncing stuff, but anyways, it freaked out and died. They delivered a piece of bread with lettuce and tomato and mayonnaise. Sounds like the most pitiful sandwich ever. I'm sorry. A BLT with cucumbers. Okay, they got the lettuce and the tomato, right? You know, And I guess bread. I guess they got bread right. Yeah, Dropbox does let you sync it, which is nice. Yeah, I hear that. When one thing goes bad and you just want to, like roll into bed or do whatever, it sucks when you have to do other stuff, and even more so when those things just make it worse.
私はしばらく身を潜めます。また連絡しますね。
I noticed I'd been on the phone too long. I'd been using this phone booth with the light on in the middle of the darkness. In other words, I've been telling everybody I'm here.
もしもしもしもし
She hung up. Wish he wanted to talk more. He clicked his tongue and put the phone down. His junior, Kumagai, rushed into the room.
おいさん、やっぱりヤバそうな山っす。竜宮レナを探させているのはその先組葛西達義。
葛西園崎茜の懐刀じゃないですか。
Katsuyoshi Kasai was a pretty high-ranking big shot even among the boss's younger brothers. He used to be the boss of a subordinate branch. After suffering a bad injury during a gang war, he stepped down and now served as the boss's aide. Akane Sonozaki relies especially on him as a right-hand man. He's still feared even now. Hello, Pally. How's it going? When Kasai moves, other gangs consider it as a declaration of war. They fear him very much. He's a warrior among warriors. He's been lying low these days. He's led countless numbers of gang wars. He's also the leader of the professional attack squadron that went to the US to receive military training during the dam conflict. I'm doing alright. How are you doing? Yeah, I don't capitalize it. Well, sometimes I do. I don't really. It doesn't really matter to me. Yeah. They were crazy enough to think of attacking the Ministry of Construction for real.
情報や界隈でも相当な騒ぎに
Oh,
なっ
and
てい
thank
る
you
の
for
で
the
す。
hydrate. All code is inconsistent, Samus's.
竜宮レナが園崎組にとって相当都合の悪いものを握ってるんじゃないかともっぱらの噂です。
情報屋の皆さんもさすがに勘がいいですね。ね。こりゃとんでもない山になってきたぞ。
佐藤さんは例の建設省とお寮の秘密交渉テープじゃないかって見てるみたいっす。だとすれば人が死ぬ騒ぎになるっすよ。
Every single place the name appeared was written differently. Why you gotta make it hard on everyone, Samus's? This is more serious than that, Oishi thought. Her story is true. This is a massive conspiracy. It can cause more than quite a few deaths. It might destroy the entire village, or the entire prefecture. It would be the biggest terrorist strike in history. In 1983.
くまちゃん、覆面パトを竜宮家に貼り付かせてください。本日付で竜宮レナから暴力団組織に脅迫を受けている訴えがあったため身辺警護ってことにします。ガジオには後で私から話します。
That's a very shaky defense, Samus. Even if the stuff you're using sucks, like I know I use stuff that sucks all the time, where it's like, oh, you need to use this third-party integration that just it's awful and it doesn't make any sense and it contradicts itself in many places. You could still make your own code consistent.
いえ、その実は竜宮レナは自宅を出ているらしいです。
That's what everyone thinks when they make their own software. And then if you make it into like that small number of people that where it gets used more, then you have a problem.
駐在所からの連絡ではどうも家の金を何十万か盗んで
Having fun with it is
雲
good,
隠
though.
れしているらしいんです。
If you're not having like fun with it, if you're not either having fun in the process or in the product, or like I guess the experience or like the knowledge gained along the way, if you're not having fun at any point in time, like probably not worth your time.
それから竜宮家の前には園崎組の車が1台張り付いているという連絡が。
ばっか野郎！なんでそいつは早く言わないんだ！竜宮レナは相当高度に狙われてるぞ。さっきの電話は家じゃなかったんだ。竜宮レナを至急保護します。車回せ！家の前に張り付いてる野郎を締め上げろ！おい！わけの何か来い！
おっす！
レナさんが家にいない？この時間に？
はい。しばらく家の前で待たせていただきましたが、戻られる気配がなかったもので一度引き上げました。
誰かの家に遊びに行ってるとかじゃない？案外本家でお姉たちと一緒に部活大会だったりしてね。
Shion was lying down on the sofa, picturing her sister and her friends, fooling around and playing games like they always did.
一応それを疑って本家にも寄らせていただきましたが、いらっしゃられないようでした。ミオンさんもレナさんがお帰りになられないのを心配しておられました。
そうなの？
Yeah, I've been a software developer for, just trying to think, 7 years professionally. And then I've been programming since, like 7 years prior to that. So 14 years at this point, basically half my life.
どうしたんだろうね。
Both.
はって。
めったにないことだろうとは思いますが、たちの悪いのに絡まれたのかもしれません。念のためレナさんを見かけていないかどうか聞き込
Oh,
ま
your
せたい
farm
で
tech?
す。
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. You're me, but 7 years late. That means this is your year.
あの子に限っては大丈夫だと思うけどな。何気に強いしね。
それはそうと、私に何の用だったんです？
Guess I took off his jacket, but we're not going to animate that because we just have the one sprite. Shion told him to go see Rena because she'd heard that Rena had requested to see him in person.
あれ？言わなかったっけ？
Well, so I've been working for 7 years, but I've been at 2 different positions. The first one I was only there for a year and like 3 months or something like that. Wasn't great. It came with like a paid training, and then after that, I was working at one of the big Canadian banks, where my role, my title was software developer, but when I was at the bank, I was doing system administration and quality control, which was a fancy way of saying I had one server I managed. I could, like add people to it, update the server, any of those kind of permission-y things. And so that was the system administration. And then the quality control part was we added, when new projects were being made, we would give them the resources for like their sprint planning and their like bug tracking tickets. So we would make the projects, we would provision them, we would assign people to it. So what that ended up meaning was 90% of that work was creating user accounts and sending people emails like, here's your username and password. And then like they had Citrix, which is like a way of remote connecting when you weren't in the office. Literally in the email, it's like, if you're on Citrix, do this. If you're in the office, do this. I was probably 70% of the time people would be like, hey, it doesn't work. And I would just copy and paste the thing like, are you on Citrix? If so, do this. And that solved 90% of problems. Yeah, Citrix is pretty big in large companies, especially banks. All the people I know that work at banks use Citrix as their access.
お姉が言うには、レナさんそれを直接返したいんだってさ。
I didn't use it personally, so I personally can't say if it's good or bad. What I do know is that it seemed like half the people who use Citrix didn't understand it because, like, it has a different process.
おうおう、いいね。若い子にモテることで。
堪忍してください。
Oh yeah, the compounding pharmacies are pretty cool. But being able to work from home right now must be nice. I say that as someone who has literally not gone into the office for 2 years in March. We don't even have an office anymore.
しかしご無事だといいのですが。
Right then the phone rang. As I answered it while loosening his tie. So, okay. So, our office was one of those ones where we rented like a room in like, you know, a big shared office space. And in it you could rent like a small like 1-2 person room. We had, I think ours officially said it could hold like 5 or 6 people. Maybe it was 4 and we squeezed 6 in. We had more in than they said should be in it. But then COVID happened and no one was going in, and the lease ran out, and our boss was just like, no one's been in the office for like literally a year. Let's not renew the lease. And, you know, when eventually, you know, it blows over and people want to come back into the office, then we can either ask for the lease again or just find a new place. So yeah, so haven't been into the office in 2 years, and we haven't had an office in probably over a year at this point.
はい。わかりました。
And I mean, saving all of us money, I don't even want to know how much that office space cost, because it was like prime real estate in Toronto. You know, I don't even know how many thousands a month that was going to be, but it would easily be in the thousands. And then like each of us, if you were like taking the subway, I don't know exactly what that would have been, like $6-7 a day. And I'm outside of the city, so I would take the train in, and that was like $16-18 a day, something like that. Yeah, it saves all of us money. I mean, I know for a lot of businesses,
直ちに
like especially corporations like banks and stuff, where people didn't really work from home a lot, it had been like a big struggle for them to make that transition. We were already working from home like 3 days a week, so it wasn't too big of a deal for us. And we're now at the point where we've hired people. I don't think we've gone outside of Canada yet. No, but we've hired people like on the West Coast, nor over on the East Coast, like 3-hour time difference, and been fine so far. I mean, they have to wake up stupid early at like 5 a.m., but hey, they get to do it. It's what they want. So I sounded very serious, and Shion immediately figured out who he was talking to.
誰?
Yeah, because they're 3 hours behind us, so we have our morning meetings at 9:30, so they have to be up for that at 6:30 their time. But I've always been an early person. Even now, I will wake up and start work at 7 a.m. just because that's when I like working. I like trying to start early, finish early, because at like 2 o'clock, my brain just turns to mush. So, this way I can go and do something else then.
お父さん、
はい。レナさんを大至急保護して本家へ護送せよとの園崎本家からの命令です。
I'm also the kind of person, like, some people, like, you wake up and you have to, like, wait 30 minutes, an hour just to, like, be, like, mentally ready for your day. I wake up and most days, unless I'm feeling sick or, like, had a rotten night's sleep, I'm out of bed in, like, 30 seconds.
レナさん、何をやらかしたんだか。
Yeah, I hear that, Samus.
ああ、爪かな。
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I know several people in the same situation. It sucks, and I really can't offer any advice on the matter. Why are you watching a game with bugs?
かわいそうに。クワバラクワバラ。
レナがまだ帰ってないって？
うん。実は聞いた話だと、レナ、自宅を出てどこかに雲隠れしてるらしい。
雲隠れ？どういうことだ？
あと、これはさっき入ってきた情報なんだけど、警察がリュウグウレナの行方を探してるって。
なんだって？
なんでも、レナの家の前にはすでに覆面パトカーが1
Let's
台
just tell everyone about the unmarked police car.
村の中にもすでにサイレンなしのパトカーが数台入り込んでるみたい。あと、君吉本家にも警察から電話があって、リュウグウレナの所在を至急確認したいので、懲戒連絡
Yeah,
網で
Samus, my brother actually had the same problem when, because his work was heavily affected because of COVID. He works as a school crossing guard, so for large chunks of the past 2 years, like, schools have been closed and he hasn't had any work. So yeah, and during that time, it was hard for him to wake up before like 11 o'clock, and he had to retrain himself when they finally went back, because I think his first shift is at 7:15 to 7:45, I think, so he had to be up pretty early for it.
ってことはまさか俺たちの隠した死体が見つかったってことか？
We hid them deep in the mountains. Couldn't have found them that easily.
うん。それは 100% ありえない。私が保証するよ。
おう、よく 100% なんて言い切れるな。
うん。実はね、あの死体、園崎家の方で秘密の場所に処分させてもらったの。
秘密の場所？
まあまあまあ、そこは深く考えない。あのね、私たちが埋めたあの山林、後でよくよく聞いてみたら、今年の夏に大規模な伐採計画があるって分かったの。だから、ちょっと私の方で手を回させてもらったってわけ。
I don't even know what time. It was like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, and I was like, man, I already feel tired for tomorrow, and there's still like half the day left.
そっか、なるほどな。お前、味方なら頼りになるけど、敵だったら怖いやつだな。
おじさんを誰だと思ってるんだか。
じゃあ、死体じゃないよな。一体どうして警察がレナを？
わからない。北条哲平と間宮里奈が竜宮家を食い物にしようとしてたって話は、裏の界隈ではちょっと知られてたらしいんだよ。そっちの角度からレナが浮上したのかもしれない。とにかく容疑者ってわけじゃないみたい。でも重要参考人とかって扱いではあるだろうね。
どっちだって同じだぜ。ク そ、せっかくレナは平穏な生活を取り戻したんだぞ。ここで台無しになんかしてたまるか。ミオ、俺たちでなんとかレナをかばおう。当然だよ。とにかく警察よりも先にレナの身柄を確保するようさっき沖宮の家に伝えた。本家でならレナを 120% 警察から守れる。レナをかくまうだけじゃ解決にはならないんじゃないのか。レナの嫌疑を何とかしないと。そこは保護してから考えるよ。アリバイを証明する証人なんかいくらでも作れるし、本家に出入りしてる最高の弁護士もいる。私たちは仲間を絶対に見捨てない。ああ、そうさ。絶対にレナを守ってやろうな。くそ、俺ができるのはミオンに頼るだけかよ。情けない。まあまあ、蛇の道は蛇ってことだよ。おじさんの方で手を尽くすからここは任せな。あと村全体で警察の目をごまかすためアリバイを作る。レナがゴグラのあたりで目撃されたことにしよう。警察の目が広域に散ればそれだけ薄くなるはずだよ。なるほどな。そいつはうまいぜ。こんなのはダム戦争の頃はお手の物だったよ。絶対にレナをかばいきってみせる。あとケイちゃん、レナはケイちゃんのことは特に信頼してた。だからレナの方からケイちゃんのところに現れる可能性がある。その時にはすぐ保護してあげてほしい。その時は私にもすぐ連絡してね。お、わかったぜ。レナは強い子だからね。きっとこんな苦難も乗り越えてみせるよ。そうだな。
I hesitated to say something. Rena hadn't been her normal self lately. If it was her normal self, she'd have no doubt that she could overcome this. Rena is deeply convinced that Takano-san's delusions are true. Rena believes the Sonozaki family is behind the conspiracy. Not sure if she'd trust the Sonozaki family to protect her.
大丈夫だよ。私とレナだって仲間同士なんだからさ。腹を割って話せばすぐに誤解だって分かってくれるよ。ケイちゃんだって私と話して誤解が解けたんでしょ。よくもまあ、あんなとんでも話を信じたもんだよ。
まあな、我ながらよくあんな話を鵜呑みにしたもんだぜ。前原圭一、多分一生の恥だぜ。やれやれ。
I really was deeply convinced until I talked to Mion. Even after the promise of friendship we made, I doubted her. Ono-san was endowed with magic. I think the scrapbook she wrote also carried a spell. Scrapbooks can make people go mad. They're forbidden scrapbooks. Nobody was supposed to read them. Rena is captivated by the power of that magic, even after Takano-san's death. I have to wake her up. I've got a very bad feeling about it.
ああ、ごめん。来客だわ。なんだか警察っぽいな。じゃあこれで電話を切るね。
お、わかった。
レナは今晩以降、ゴグラのあたりに潜伏してることになってる。警察に何か聞かれても、知りません、会ってませんで通すんだよ。
お、了解。
Mion waited for my answer, then hung up the phone. After she hung up, I slowly started to feel like Rena was being consumed by some huge, unthinkable fate. It's not only the police I'm worried about. I'm also worried because Rena is ensnared by the power of Takano-san's magic. I fear that she might be suffering from incredible anxiety. Alright. Rena might be hiding at her secret base in the garbage dump. Rena once told me that she used to spend time there when Rina-san was at her house. And she told me she hid the scrapbooks there, too. She's hiding there. She must be hungry by now. I should bring her something to eat. I went to the kitchen to look for some junk food. My mother looked confused.
ちょっと出かけてくるよ。
こんな時間に？もう遅いからよしなさい。
大切な用事なんだ。すぐ戻るよ。あとそれから、もし俺が留守の間にレナが来るようなことがあったら、黙って俺の部屋に通してほしい。それからレナの所在を尋ねる電話が来たら、知らないって言って切っちゃって。
My mom looked angry that I was leaving the house at so late an hour, but I rushed out of the house before she could say anything. I grabbed a flashlight from the wall of the garage, got on my bicycle, and sped off into the darkness. The moon looked beautiful, but in a creepy way. I feel like something terrible is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but I know it's coming. Something is going to happen. Moon, seemingly knowing what that something will be, looked like it was laughing at us, pacing back and forth in confusion. Damn it, laugh all you want, Moon. Laugh at this funny story as much as you want. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to fight. I'm going to smash through whatever fate is waiting for us. Rena, I hope you're there. Maybe my bicycle needs some oil. It was making a lousy noise as I pedaled. Damn it, even my bicycle is laughing at us. Okay, we got one tip called Them. We'll read. I finished talking with Oishi on the phone and soon left the phone booth. I realized something and a chill ran through my body. I was in a phone booth that stood tremendously in the dark. Quick question. All right. Is it which quick do I like the most? The answer is it depends. Either strawberry or the chocolate caramel quick. Oh, what is this nonsense? Which is true? Okay. I'm reading this correctly, and man, it's been a long time since I've used any language that looks like this. I don't think it's this middle one. I don't know, but I'm gonna hazard a guess. I'll say the third one. Samus says, I've literally had clients that come to us and be like, everything's broken, and we're like, why? The sentence is missing a period. We can't ship the product like this. And we're just like, done. Fixed. It's now on production. It took 5 seconds. You didn't have to worry that much about it. Somebody must have seen me. I was certain I was being watched. Saw glowing eyes staring at me in the dark. It wasn't human. Oh yes, the text is even more red now. Check that out. Was it an illusion? No. I knew who they were. They were the ones controlling the 3 families who ruled Hinamizawa. Its eye level was too low for it to be human. Its outline was vague. Okay, it's been a long time. Like, I knew it was something with pointers, and I was between the first and the third, and I said the middle one was incorrect. Yeah. Yeah, I've not touched... Yeah, because I've been working for 7 years, so it was probably... I touched C++ in my last year of university. And C might have been the second year. But I really haven't used those at all since. I knew from the past records that they were physically frail. Silhouette, which indicated its inhuman appearance, was unbelievably unrealistic. Yeah, I've done some C#.net. But even then, we wouldn't write pointers like that. all that's been in my head recently, because all the projects I've been doing for, yeah, literally about the past year now, and starting around March, has all been in Ruby on Rails, and I absolutely hate it. ORMs need to burn in a fire, and Ruby on Rails is just awful. Especially its protruding head. One of the scrapbooks I received from Mio-san described their appearance in detail. Their eyeballs were pure red like blood, and their bodies smelled like ammonia. Even though some of them have at times been captured around the world, all of them melted or disappeared, leaving no trace behind. Pointers are fine. I don't have a problem with pointers. Yeah, I don't have a problem with pointers. Pointers have nice things you can do. Like, the idea of, like, linked lists or doubly linked lists with pointers, it's good. I like those. Not that I've used those. I don't think I've used them in my professional career. But they are a wonderful concept. The only traces remaining are the marks proving their descent to Earth. Right then, the impossible, unrealistic silhouette took a step closer. Got closer and closer towards me, making a realistic noise as it crunched across the gravel. The noise pulled me back to reality. It kept walking towards me. It sounded like it was kicking pebbles everywhere as it walked. It was coming closer and closer. I was scared, so I said the same thing once again. This time, the glass door of the phone booth. Wow, that shook a lot. I was just started to rattle and shake. Bang, it made weird sounds as if being struck by something. I screamed loudly in fear and started running. I ran so hard it felt like my lungs were about to explode, and I looked back to find that the thing was no longer chasing after me. Was it my imagination? No way, it was just my imagination. I definitely heard the sound of the gravel being kicked and the phone booth rattling. But I needed to calm down. Right then, I needed to make my heart stop beating so fast. I'd have to fight them eventually. Next time they appeared, I was going to strike back at them. I'm going to squash their heads with my big hatchet. By protecting Mizawa, it was my duty to do so. I wouldn't allow them to do whatever they wanted. I saw the lights flickering in my head again. Okay, so that's directly after the phone call, and she is completely gone insane. Talking about, like, I guess those are supposed to be demons. But we finished chapter 10, and we'll continue with chapter 11. I can't remember how many chapters there are. I want to say 12. Could be as high as 14, but it might be 12. But she is fully gone at this point. Even if I turned on the light in my hideout, nobody would see it because of the piles of abandoned cars in the way. While I was aware of that, I decided not to turn it on, just in case. It's a bit scary to hide in this quiet place, alone in the dark, holding my breath. I have to keep myself busy with something. My brain won't work properly. I don't even have the energy to think about what I'm going to do from now on. However, I don't have the courage to lie down and sleep and regain my strength either. Every time I heard or thought I heard a suspicious sound, I'd gasp and stare into the dark. That's all I did all night. Oishi believes that the Sonozaki family was behind the conspiracy. But he can't do much without solid evidence. That he has to locate the facility where they're doing research on the parasite. But we have no idea where it is. I think the Irie clinic is still the most likely site, but I have no credible evidence. Really, I don't think they do their research in a place so obvious even I could guess it. They might be using one of the bomb shelters that was built during the war as some kind of secret underground research center. Now that I come to think of it, I remember a secret building nobody is allowed into on the premises of the Furude Shrine. I think it's called the Ritual Storehouse. According to Mio-san's research, the Furude Shrine is the center of the local worship of Oyashiro-sama. The priest keeps the tools for the ceremonies in the Ritual Storehouse. One of the ceremonies is the bizarre festival Watanagashi. The shrine storage must be something very sacred. If I remember right, one Nagashi is also a medical ritual designed to vaccinate and immunize people against the all-too-strong parasites. That means the tools they used for one Nagashi were medical ones. If my guess is right, the ritual storehouse is the most sacred place in the village, as well as the most appropriate building to use for medical purposes. It's suspicious. There might be a secret research center in this ritual storehouse. Ah, damn it, the police should be performing a raid on the ritual storehouse, not the Irie clinic. Why didn't I think of that when I was talking to Oishi on the phone earlier? I hope Oishi realizes this too. Should I go back to the phone, tell him about the ritual storehouse? When I thought that, I heard a car coming closer. I held my breath. It's not normal for a car to come here this late at night. I thought about many possible scary scenarios, which made me nervous. After a while, I saw the headlights of the car near the former dam construction office. The car must have passed me and gone to the office. But it's a deserted, empty office building. There's nothing there. Not a place where people would visit this late at night. While I was staring into the dark, the engine of the car stopped and its headlights were turned off. I could see 2 flashlights flickering in the darkness. The lights moved into the office building. I must think I'm hiding there. I held my breath and kept watching their movements. Can't tell who they are, but I bet they're pawns of the Sonozaki family. They know that I ran away from home. They must be looking for me everywhere in the village. Though I needed to conceal my breath, my face started feeling itchy, and I had the urge to stretch my legs. My own body infuriated me. The humidity made me sweat all over. The back of my knees and my neck had been itchy for quite a while. Scratching would make an unbelievably loud sound, so I decided not to scratch anymore. It usually doesn't make any noise when I just scratch some mosquito bites. Probably just being nervous and overreacting. It's quite the distance between me and them, and I'm in the dark holding my breath. They wouldn't notice even if I sneezed, let alone scratched myself. I didn't want to make any noise at all, so I tried to forget the itchiness. After all that, I ended up scratching everywhere like mad. I have to live in hiding like this for a while. I don't know how long I can go on when I'm so nervous on just the first night. I need to toughen up more so I can remain placid, even in a situation like this. I forced myself to relax, scratched my neck without hesitation, and tried to cope with the sticky sweat all over my body. I started getting hungry, and my stomach growled. It's a good sign, though, since it means I'm starting to relax. Can't eat yet, though. It'd make a lot of noise. I decided to wait until they finished looking for me and went away. Go away. Go away. I can eat if you go away. It seemed like the intentions I was sending out were fruit. They'd stopped looking around the building. However, I must have concentrated my thoughts too strongly, as they were pointing their flashlights in my direction. Did they notice me? No, not only that, they were walking towards me. I made my body as small as possible, hid under the blanket and listened for their footsteps as carefully as I could. All the while, I heard their footsteps coming closer and closer. If the footsteps are coming straight towards me, they must already know where I am, I think. It's scary. But there's no way they already know where I am. If they did, they wouldn't have wasted their time looking for me around the office building. They wouldn't walk as slowly as they did. It's just a coincidence that they're walking this direction. So I'm hiding under the blanket. I can't see who they are. I don't know where they're shining their flashlights, so I can't stick my head out from the window to see who they are either. I just have to stay motionless like a rock until I sense they're gone. They stopped when they came near my hideout. I could hear their conversation.
ぐるっと回ってみるが、そっちを見てくれ。
I could tell by the sound of their footsteps that they went separate ways and that each of them is walking around the piles of trash separately. I made this hideout out of an abandoned car. I just redecorated it. So on the outside, it still looks like nothing other than an abandoned car. Once you look inside, you can instantly tell it's more than that. So if they look inside, I'm done for. It's obvious that they're looking for me. Are they a Sonozaki Corps attack unit? If they find me, I'll be killed for sure. I know all too well that this place is perfect for murdering people. I killed 2 people here myself. If I can do it, it'll be no problem for them because they're real professional killers. Even so, there's nothing I can do right now. Just have to pray that they'll leave here soon. That time I heard a slight beeping sound.
感度良好。はい。ゴグラ？はい。了解です。
どうした？
竜宮レナはゴグラらしい。目撃情報があったそうだ。
おいおい、お手上げだぜ。どうするんだよ。
とにかく是が非でも、ひっ捕まえて連れてこいって旦那の命令だ。たとえ行ったのが札幌だろうと博多だろうと追っかけるしかねえだろ。
無理だぜ。見つかるわけねえ。それでも探さなきゃなんねえのか。
旦那は竜宮レナの持つ高野美代のスクラップ帳ってのを欲しがってる。あんだけの剣幕になるんだから相当のもんだろうぜ。
で、俺たちはどうするんだよ。
竜宮家前に貼り付けだけ残して他は引き上げだそうだ。戻って麦茶でも飲もうぜ。
I heard their footsteps going further, and I didn't hear them anymore. For a while I heard the engine of their car starting. Finally got out from under the blanket and looked outside the window. The car made a U-turn and drove away. The sound of the engine faded away into the darkness. I heaved a sigh of relief, scratched all of my itchy mosquito bites and wiped the sticky sweat off my face and neck, finally allowed myself to cough. I'd heard their conversation clearly. They're the pawns of the Sonozaki Corps without a doubt. It matches what Oishi told me. And they said something very important. They clearly said they're after the scrapbooks. Up until now, I'd only assumed that they were chasing after me because I had Mio-san's scrapbooks. I could have forced myself to believe that it was just my assumption. They said it loud and clear. Need to find Rena Ryugu. She has Mio Takano's scrapbooks, that's what they said. They also said that they're keeping a watch in my house. I'm not surprised. It's exactly what I would do if I were them. Can't go back to my house anymore, it's out of the question. But, in fact, they said something way more important than any of that. They said, Rena Ryugu was seen in Gogura. If I was in a normal situation, I'd probably think that somebody saw a look-alike, and I'd laugh out loud. The situation is different now. Mio-san was dead, but she was at the festival. I'm here, but I was in Gogura. Mio-san wrote about it in her scrapbooks, and I didn't want to believe it. They're coming closer to me, and I don't mean the Sonozaki family. Something beyond common sense is about to happen. Should I fight or should I run? I don't even know what I should do. I feel like I'm rooted to the spot with fear. Am I about to be eaten? No. I don't want to be eaten alive. I want to run away if I can't win. I can't run, I want to fight. And I'm going to be happy, I know I am. I'm not going to sit pretty and let them get me. But the enemy Mio-san foretold of in the scrapbooks is coming closer to me. It's starting to eat me up. I'm in the garbage dump alone. If I disappeared right now without anybody knowing it, the person who's in Gogura would replace me and start living my life. Nobody would notice the change. My father wouldn't notice it. My friends wouldn't notice it. It would replace me without having anyone noticed it. Wait. Many people close to me might have been replaced already. That's right. The Sonozaki family is plotting bioterrorism. That's only a part of what they're planning. Mice possess them. Don't get scared of cats. As a result, they don't run away. They'll be eaten by the cats, and they can move into the cats' bodies. Mice are only used by them for that purpose. It's not that they lose their fear of cats in order to help them achieve their purpose. Same thing goes with the Sonozaki family. They think they're doing things by their own will. They've just been helping them without realizing it. Exactly how they've lived since long ago, being the parasite. Nothing but a bunch of mice to them. Most mice are stupid, they don't notice their existence. They help them to achieve their purpose, thinking they're living their lives by their own will. Very rarely, a mouse with wits is born. This mouse notices that he's being used. He also notices their existence. But nobody believes him, so it's not a big deal. He starts thinking that it was his mistake and he gets swallowed by them. Eventually, he disappears. Even more rarely, a mouse appears from nowhere, notices their existence, and objectively proves it. That mouse was Mio-san. This mouse was a rare and very dangerous existence. That's why they resorted to unbelievably bold and violent methods to try and eliminate that mouse when it appeared. Surprisingly, we knew about those measures. But the stupid mice don't believe it. They don't know that they're forcing them not to believe it, but they're helping them in the end. They killed Mio-san. And then they tried to replace her. They made a mistake. We found the real corpse of Mio-san. That's why they failed to replace her. They'll try to kill me and replace me too. Or they'll replace my friends in order to get close to me. They look just like real people. They're totally different inside. They're an abnormal existence that's beyond our imagination. I know they'll appear. No, they're already here. It appeared the day after Mio-san died. It appeared in Gogura tonight. They'll keep coming. They're openly after me now. Keep coming, keep coming. Right then, I heard someone coming down the slope. I concealed my presence again and looked in the direction where the footsteps were coming from. I could see one flashlight. Like there was only one person now. Who is it? This late at night? Its shadow is very small. I can tell it isn't an adult. I felt a chill running through my body. I shined the flashlight towards my hideout, and its footsteps are coming straight towards me. It's different from the other guys earlier. I can tell by the sound of the footsteps that it knows I'm hiding here for sure. No, it must be just a coincidence. I should conceal myself again. I can make it through this again. I made it through last time. I need to hide. I pulled the blanket over myself, made myself as small as possible, and kept telling myself that I was a stone. The footsteps kept coming closer and closer, and it knocked on the door of my hideout. I opened my eyes wide. I broke out in a nervous sweat. Not wanting to believe that the sound I heard was a knock, my mind went completely blank. But it knocked on the door again. I could feel a light shining on the blanket. It might be shining the flashlight on me. I still held back my fear. As long as I don't move, it can't put a finger on me. I kept telling myself that, as if I was casting a spell. I tried not to shake in fear. It laughed. It just laughed at me because I thought I was hiding perfectly. I still tried. So I got out of the blanket. I threw off the blanket and saw the owner of the voice. It is Rika-chan. Now why is she here? Why did she come here to see me? I don't understand why she came all the way here alone this late at night. I realized all of a sudden. She looks just like Rika-chan on the outside. She's not her, just copying her appearance. Came to Mio-san, to me, and to Rika-chan. I decided to talk aggressively on purpose in order to work up courage before my fear crushed me down.
Rika-chan, kana? Mi, 他の誰に見えるのですか?
It answers just like the Rika-chan I know. But I know it's not Rika-chan. Rika-chan wouldn't come to a place like this so late at night.
わかるよ。リカちゃんじゃないんでしょ。おあいにくだけど、私の目はごまかせないよ。外見がリカちゃんであっても。あんたはリカちゃんじゃない。私の友達のフルでリカじゃない。何者？
Rika looked stunned for a while. She looked as if she didn't understand what I was talking about. But she pretended like that for too long. She really didn't know what I was talking about. She wouldn't be able to stand in the silence for this long. She kept quiet. She finally showed her true character. It laughed. It laughed at me because I figured out something that was almost impossible to figure out. It was not
あ
Rika.
んた誰？
It didn't answer my question. It kept laughing for a while. And then it looked straight into my eyes in a way Rika-chan never did before. It said this.
私もこの世に生きて長いけど、私をリカじゃないと見破ったやつは初めてよ。あなたは勘がいい人だと初対面から思ってたけど、大したものね。
She clearly spoke to me the things I was most afraid of. I was completely shocked. Like she told me everything that could possibly scare me. I didn't want to hear any of this. Like something I can't possibly twist in a way I can comprehend.
でもあえてリカだと名乗っておくわ。私もリカを自分の呼び名だと思ってかなり長いしね。へえ、長いってどれくらいに？大したことはないわ。ほんの100年程度よ。はあ？何を言ってんのあんた。
I'm contradicting myself. I know the person who's standing in front of me isn't Rika, but at the same time, I deny its existence. As long as humans hold this kind of emotion, they can never accept unknown existences. In other words, we can never accept them.
怯えなくていいわ。あなたは社内、私は社外。互いに相手に物騒なことをするのは簡単じゃない。お互いに都合のいい距離、私が何百年生きていようとも。フルでリカは所詮あなたに腕力で勝てると思ってないわ。むしろ逆上したあなたに飛びかかられないか不安なのはこっちの方なんだから。
I realized that this creepy thing that looks just like Rika was only here to talk to me. I felt my attention fade away a little bit. Still, I don't know what she wants to talk to me about in a place like this, so late at night. Like a fish on a cutting board, there's nothing I can do other than wait and see what's going to happen. I waited for it to make a move for a while, and then it opened its mouth again.
あなたは何かに怯えている。それは正解。
It uses sarcasm. Rika-chan's cute face looked uglier than ever when it smiled. I held back my fear and tried to reply firmly.
ええ、おかげさまで。そう、何に怯えているの？あんたらが一番よくわかっているくせに。
It told me earlier that we were safe from each other because one was in the car and the other was standing outside. It's obvious that I'm the one who's being driven into a corner. While I'm talking to it, I could be being surrounded by its minions. I got scared and tried to listen to the sounds of my surrounding carefully.
怖がらないで。私はあなたを助けに来たんだから。助けに？へえ、どうやってかな。あなたはね、ちょっと病気になってしまっただけなの。ちょっとしたお薬で楽になるのよ。私はその薬を持ってきたと言ったら関心がある。薬？
It put its hand in its pocket and took out a small case. It opened the case and showed me what was inside. What was in there made me gasp in surprise.
注射器。
It's not normal for a person to carry around a syringe. I have no idea what's going on. But what Rika-chan is holding in her hand is a syringe. There's no way I can twist that fact around.
そう。あなたを楽にしてくれる注射よ。楽になれるって？私には分かってる。それでしょ？富武さんを殺した薬物の正体は原子の力を持った寄生虫。かつての奇病を再現させる恐ろしい注射。富武の注射はね。でも これは違うわよ。本当よ。
It giggled. It isn't the giggling that scares me. I'm scared it admitted that the cause of Tomitake's death so easily. Also admitted the direct cause of the maggot disease that Tomitake-san died from.
私にもあの死に方をさせるつもりなんでしょ。そしてゴグラに現れたレナが私に入れ替わって一件落着。そういう魂胆なんでしょ。誰がそんな注射をするもんか。まあ嫌がるとは思った。明らかに怪しいしね。分かってるじゃないの。ならどうするの？富武さんみたいに集団で襲って無理やり注射でもするの？
Tomitake-san's autopsy report said that he had bruises on his body that proved he was fighting against several people right before he died. That means they must have ganged up on him in order to give him the shot against his own will.
無理に襲って注射したいけど、あまりうまくいった試しはないわね。だから無理やりってのはもう諦めてるわ。だからあなたの自由意志に任せることにする。ふざけないで！そんな薄気味悪い注射、誰が使うものか。私もそのあたりは悩んだわ。どうなだめすかせばあなたに注射できるかをね。強引にも無理だし、理解も得られないし。なら結局私はあなたの判断に任せるほかないってこと。そんなのは聞くまでもない。誰がそんな見えすいた罠にかかるか。まあ想定通りの反応よ。どうせ期待してなかったし。
It heaved a sigh, made a gesture as if it is mocking me, and smiled bitterly. As if it was saying I'm a lower animal that can't understand it's being given a chance for salvation. I kind of want to say I'll take the shot on a dare. I know that's exactly what it is intending to do.
お前の仲間に注射には失敗したと伝えるがいい。私は負けない。最後まで徹底的に抗ってやる。そして 1% にも満たないかもしれない勝機をつかんで、必ずや貴様らを打ち滅ぼしてやるから。そう。ならばせいぜい頑張りなさいな。どうせもうすぐ滅ぶ世界だしね。滅ぶ？あなたには関係のないことよ。井戸の中のカエルが井戸の外なんかに興味を持っても仕方ないでしょ。
At this stage of the game, it said something very dubious. I tried hard to understand what this horrifying creature was trying to say.
私をこれからどうするつもりなの？私はどうもしないわ。好きにすればいい。え？
It's almost too easy. Or as I know, do whatever you want means ignorance or release when your enemy says it to you. At the very least, it isn't a bad thing. It doesn't have another meaning. That way, I overinterpreted the meaning of the sentence, but then it said it
あ
again.
なたの好きなように過ごせばいい。このリュウグウレナにはもう興味ない。次のリュウグウレナとうまくやれるようにするわ。せめて次のリュウグウレナは変に勘が良くないことを祈るだけよ。
I was scared of it. Like I'd be scared of a judge handing down a death sentence.
私も昔は小さなほころびが生じるたびに直そうと奔走したものだけど、途中からね、このひなみ沢にもう興味ない。次のひなみ沢を探しに行くことにするわ。でもあなたにはこのひなみ沢しかない。だからせいぜい頑張って生きなさいな。
He was telling me scary things one after another. This was obviously a warning of Hinamizawa's destruction. It means the climax is coming soon. They have already prepared another Rena. When I lose this fate, they are going to replace me with that Rena as if nothing happened. They're very well organized. What humans are most afraid of is for their lives to lose all value. Your life becomes worthless when you're told that you have a replacement. It's like an indirect death sentence. It closed the syringe case and put it back into its pocket. It turned around and started climbing up the slope. Top, it looked back and spoke without as much as an evil smile.
じゃあね、さよなら。このリュウグウレナ。次のリュウグウレナでは仲良くしてね。ほとんどの場合は仲良くできてるんだから。次のリュウグウレナなど許すものか。私は私だ。たった一人だ。お前らの思い通りにはならない。絶対に、絶対に。
Wondered if my scream was reaching it. It looked at me coldly. Looked at me as if I was just an image of the past on the TV screen.
こういう会話も面白いか。
That laughter gradually disappeared into the darkness. It disappeared into the darkness as well. I was the only one left there. I'm forsaken, they don't care if I disappear. They told me I should struggle as much as I want because it doesn't matter anyway. They already have a replacement. They don't need me in their Hinamizawa anymore because my intuition is too sharp. I realized that. I noticed that this garbage dump is a perfect grave for me. And I realized that this place wouldn't work as my hideout anymore. I'd better start packing and move somewhere else. They told me to struggle as much as I want. I'm gonna do just that, damn it. I have to get ready to move out from here. I'm gonna put everything into my backpack. I have to leave here as soon as possible. The light of the flashlight was enough to see by, so I turned the table lamp on. The light made things show up very clearly. I reached my backpack. I realized something and gasped in surprise. The palm of my hand was covered with an eerie liquid. I thought I'd wiped off my sticky sweat earlier. It wasn't my sweat. Where did this blood come from? I realized it right away. I was scratching the mosquito bites on my neck earlier. I scratched them until it bled. I noticed that. I remembered the sensation. A mixture of pain and itchiness. I felt something moving near the wound to my neck, so I scratched it again to get rid of whatever it was. My hand got sticky and wet with blood again. I can't see what the things are because I don't have a mirror, but I know. They're already spreading throughout my entire body, causing the itchiness on my arms and the back of my knees. I'd never experienced this before. I think I've gotten bitten by a bad bug or something. Unfortunately, I already know what's causing this itchiness. Said it with hatred. Why now? Why here? It's the maggot disease without a doubt. I cut the veins on my arms. The dusky red gross things would flow out. It's impossible. I didn't get any suspicious shots. It doesn't have to be a shot. I might have put the drug in my food. I might have eaten it without noticing. I don't think they put it in the food at my house. I used to share lunch with my friends at school. I might have put it in the lunches. That Rika who visited me just earlier was shining the flashlight on me. But she knew that I was scratching my neck so hard it bled. Nevertheless, she acted like there was nothing wrong, and she told me that I wouldn't last long. Now I know why she was laughing at me in a sarcastic way. She knew that I wouldn't have much time left. It itches very badly, but I can't scratch. The more I scratch, the itchier it gets. I'm not going to do the same thing Tomitaki-san did. Damn it. The itchiness might not be temporary. It might actually get worse. I don't know if it's going to stop soon or if it's going to last until I die from it. I don't know anything anymore. I just have to endure the itchiness. I wiped the blood on my neck with a towel, clenched my teeth, and tried to erase the desire to scratch my neck. The wound was throbbing. I wanted to scratch it so badly, but I couldn't do that. I fought back the desire, biting the end of the towel. I scratched other parts of my body really hard in order to forget about the itchiness on my neck, but it didn't really work. I just prayed for the itchiness to go away, closed my eyes, and fought back the desire. That seemed to be the best way. I let my mind go blank, breathing hard for a while. Felt like the itchiness got a little bit better. I took a deep breath and I immediately started panicking. Staying here is more dangerous than the itchiness. I have to leave here as soon as possible. I felt it while packing my stuff. I felt the end coming closer, the end that Rika told me about earlier. I assumed I could live until the end, but I might have been wrong. I might follow the same path Tomitake-san took, way before the end comes. Sweating like crazy and it felt so nasty. No, it's not sweat. I'm gonna think that it's sweat for now. I wiped my neck with a towel and hurried to leave. This area has no streetlights, so I was scared to run fast when I can barely see. The moon lit up the sky, but not my steps. The only light I had to see by was my flashlight. The light was very weak. All I could see was the gravel road before me. Anything the flashlight couldn't reach was in total darkness. The expression often uses novels pitch black wouldn't be appropriate. I might trip over an empty can or a rock any time. Not wanting to fall, I used the flashlight to its maximum extent to watch my step, but I was still a bit nervous. I started running slower and slower until I was just walking briskly. I just stopped running because I'm afraid of tripping in the dark. I usually run around without watching my steps during the day. I run around with Ren and Mion all the time. Even if I can see what's underfoot, I don't pay any attention. I don't think I might trip. I just keep running around without a care. Rena might be feeling the same way I am right now. Rena, the light with which she illuminates the darkness of suspicion is too weak. The darkness of the delusion she deeply believes in is getting darker and darker. That's why she's scared to walk even on the same road she's always used to take. She fell for the contents of those ridiculous scrapbooks. People might laugh at her for that. Those scrapbooks aren't normal. They manipulate their readers' hearts, and the evil intent take advantage of their vulnerabilities. That evil intent captured my heart for one night. That's why I know how evil they are. They're just urban legends like the prophecies of Nostradamus or the Purple Mirror. A bunch of feasible lies. When you hear about them at first, you think they're too stupid to believe. Once you fall for them, it's hard to get them out of your mind for some reason. It'll be the year 1999 in less than 20 years. Everybody knows about the prophecy that the world will come to an end in July of 1999. There are even some TV shows about it too, which irresponsibly fan people's fears, so some people take it seriously. Those people think that the prophecy means the outbreak of nuclear war. Some of them are making shelters in their backyards. Some of them are thinking about freezing themselves by 1999. They won't be exposed to radiation, only waking up after it's gone. And those people are completely serious about it. When you think about it rationally, it's impossible that there will be an outbreak of nuclear war in 1999. It's true that the Cold War makes us think that the final war will break out any time, but both powers are actually pointing their nuclear missiles at each other. You know, there's nothing to gain for each of them to start a nuclear war. The Soviets might still do it. The Soviets would destroy the world if it meant eradicating liberalism. That delusion that the Soviets might do it could be neatly swapped for the way Takano-san uses the Sonozaki family in her scrapbooks. When people create a large-scale delusion like the prophecies above, they always use an incomprehensibly unknown enemy such as the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, or aliens. They say something like, you never know, they might do things like that, trying to increase the credibility of their delusions without any evidence whatsoever. Did Takano-san know about the Sonozaki family? Nothing. She would use the history of Onikafuchi and say that the Sonozaki family is still working behind the scenes, plotting a horrifying conspiracy. It's just like one of those large-scale prophecies. Nothing but just a stupid story like that one about Nazi Germany, which says that Hitler is still alive and lives in an underground complex somewhere on the South Pole, continuing to plot to conquer the world. Jeez. Rena usually doesn't believe in stupid stories like that. It was just bad timing, I suppose. It was right after she killed Rina Mamiya and Tepi Hojo and was caught by us. She was in a state of panic when she heard the story. We were waiting for her to recover from the shock. Before she did and regain strength of heart, a poison got into her and spread all throughout her body. When you're sick and have a weakened immune system, it's easy to get another disease. It's just like that. That's it. Rena is just sick right now. You're very sick in bed with a high fever. You sometimes feel like you might die from it. Most of the time, you're just overreacting. Get better after you take a medicine, eat healthy food, and sleep a lot. As she is right now. She's caught a mental cold, that's all. She needs to get better soon or she might get caught by the police. I passed several patrol cars on my way. I hid every time I saw one since I didn't want to be questioned. I probably passed by them twice. When I came close to Rena's house, I saw a car parked near the gate. It was obviously watching her house, trying to capture her when she'd arrive home. Neon ordered the Sonozaki family to try to find Rena to protect her from the police, but honestly, I'm not sure if they can. After all, Rena believes that the Sonozaki family is after her. If they don't find her, the police will eventually. If that happens, all of us who helped her bury the corpses will be caught by the police in the end. I don't know how or why the police came to suspect her. I think they only have some circumstantial evidence. I don't think they know she did it for sure. But since they're looking everywhere for her now, they must have some kind of reliable evidence. Rena, come on. You don't have time to play around with Takano-san's scrapbooks right now. Police are after you. It was so dark that I couldn't be sure if she was down there. But I made up my mind and head down the slope, carefully shining my flashlight to light my way. I wanted to loudly call out Rena's name, but there might be some policemen nearby looking for her. I walked around a trash pile, and then I saw a light. It was Rena. I ran towards her hideout, kicking aside the trash in my way. Rena was standing right in front of her hideout, holding a hatchet. I couldn't blame her. She must have noticed all the noise I had made coming down the slope.
Rena, 俺だ。
今度は圭一くん今夜はいろんな人が来る夜だね。
俺以外にも誰かいるのか？
I shone my flashlight around, but I didn't see anybody else.
この場所はもう安全じゃないんで、今から場所を変えるところなの。圭一くんにも知られたくないから、ついてこないで。
レナ、お前どうしたんだよ。その怪我、血だらけじゃないか。
もう落ち着いたから大丈夫だよ。もっとも、いつぶり返すかわからないけどね。
Rena's neck was all red. It looked like she had some kind of skin disease on her neck. Probably couldn't bear the itchiness and scratched at it really
タオル
hard.
で拭いただけじゃダメだろ。とりあえず家へ来いよ。ちゃんと消毒した方がいいぞ。
傷口は大したことないよ。それに、これは傷によるものじゃない。もう手遅れだし。
手遅れ？どういうことだよ。
富武さんを死に導いた何かを、私もいつの間にか服毒させられてるみたいなの。注射なんて物騒な方法じゃない。多分それは弁当のおかずに混ぜられてたの。覚えてる？先日みーちゃんが卵焼きを一人一個ずつ分けてくれたよね。あの時にやられたんだと思う。遅効性なところがうまいよね。くそ。
Rena kicked the dirt with hatred. He was almost literally kicking Mion's goodwill to the curb.
おいレナ、お前本気でミオンがそんなことすると思ってるのか？
Rena looked stunned and she stared straight at me. I noticed a slight accusation in her eyes. I can tell by looking into her eyes that she wants to say, What are you talking about? I already told you that the Sonozaki family is the mastermind behind the
第一
conspiracy.
よ。あの日の卵焼き、ミオは一人に一つずつなんか分けてないだろ。
Mion cut her omelet into 5 pieces. Told us to take one if we wanted. Rena took the end piece of the omelet before anyone else took one. She said it looked cute and ate it right there.
違うよ。みーちゃんは毒が入ってた卵焼きを私にわざと食べさせようとしたんだよ。
レナ、都合よく記憶を書き換えるなよ。タッパーの蓋の上にこうちょんちょんと5つ並べたんじゃないか。
並べてないよ。一人に一つずつ配った。
そんなこと今までにあったか？俺たちは互いの弁当箱を好きにつっつくバイキング形式だぜ。これは誰の分なんてお上品に分けっこしたことなんて一度もねえじゃねえか。
She looked at me with that accusation in her eyes. Rena, everything that comes out of my mouth must sound like a lie. Or it's a fact that she was poisoned. She knows for sure that the drug was in the omelet. That's why she's contradicting me, because I'm saying something different. I didn't come here to make her mad. I realized that disagreeing would only escalate her anger, so I decided not
それより
to.
さ、ここはもう安全な場所じゃないって、どこへ行くつもりだよ。
さあね、適当に探すよ。
寝るところなんてそうそう見つからねえだろ。俺の家に来いよ。
ありがたいけど辞退するね。園崎家の手先が村中を探し回ってる。圭一君が裏切って私を売るとは思いたくないけど、かばいきれるとも思えない。
園崎家の手先が探し回ってるってのは、警察がレナを探し回ってるんだ。
なんで？大石さんは味方だし、私のことは放っておくように言ってある。私を探すなんてありえないよ。
多分リナと鉄平を殺したことがどこかで漏れたんじゃないかと思う。
ああ、そういうことか。
I was relieved that we were finally on the same page, but I realized I was wrong right away when she laughed in self-derision.
どうして警察があの殺しのことを感づいたかわかる？
いや、わかるわけないだろ
う。Nobody saw her killing them. Nobody saw us burying the corpses. We buried them deep in the mountains and we camouflaged the spot perfectly. Plus, Mion moved them to a secret place afterwards, so it's impossible that the corpses would be found.
今日の夕方ね。私、あの二人の死体を埋めた場所に戻ったの。そしたら、どうだったと思う？
It didn't sound good. Of course. Rena has no idea that Mion took care of the corpses. She'd think the corpses were still buried there.
なかったの。死体が。誰かが掘り返して死体を持ち去った。
いや、レナ。それ、
あんな場所、誰かが偶然掘り返すわけもない。それに、あの場所は私が決めた。だからあの場所に埋まっていることは、あの場に居合わせた人間しか知らない。
そうだ。だからそれは。
誰がやったかは分かってる。みーちゃんだよ。私が警察と結託することがないよう、保険が欲しかったに違いない。園崎家に探させるだけじゃなく、警察にも探させるとはね。連中もなりふり構ってられないってことか。
ミオンがそんなことするわけねえだろ。
したんだよ。みーちゃんが私を撃った。
いや、しねえな。ミオンも俺たちもみんな仲間だぞ。たとえ世界が全部敵になったとしたって仲間は最後まで味方なんだ。だからミオンがレナを売ることなんて、海水が全部蒸発するような天変地異があったって絶対にありえない。
みーちゃんの肩をどうして持つの？
逆だろ。なんでミオンをそこまで疑うんだよ。
そんなのは決まってるでしょ。ミオさんの暴いた致命的な事実は信者たちの偉大な計画の実現。
黙れ黙れ。ちょっと言葉がきつかったな。いいか、あの死体がなくなっていたのは確かにミオンが掘り返したか。
やっぱりそうじゃない。
終わりまで聞けよ。いいか、 ミオンが死体を掘り返したのはあの埋めた場所が安全じゃないことが分かったからなんだ。営林署がこの夏あの辺り一帯を伐採するって計画を立ててたことが後に分かったんだよ。だからミオンはレナを守るために死体を掘り返してくれたんだよ。
It laughed at me like I was stupid or something. I could tell she didn't understand anything I was
そん
saying.
なのみーちゃんの口から出任せに決まってるでしょ。圭一くんの前ではいいこぶりたいあの子の汚いやり方だって。
あのな、じゃあどうすりゃよかったんだよ。今年の夏に営林署が見つけちまうかもしれないと知ってて放置しとくのかよ。そんなことできるわけねえだろ。
その営林署の伐採計画というのがそもそもみーちゃんの作り話だってどうしてわからないのかな。
わからねえのはレナの方だろ。
After I yelled at her, she gave me an icy look. She stared into my eyes as if trying to find out what I came here
俺
for.
はレナの目を覚ましに来たんだ。お前は高野さんのスクラップ帳のせいでとんでもないおかしな夢に取りつかれてる。最初のうちは面白い話だと思ってたが、そろそろシャレにならないと思い始めた。お前は今ちょっとした病気なんだよ。
ああ、理科もどきにも病気だって言われたっけね。確かに内脇病はもう始まってるし。
ああ、もう違うんだ。とにかく俺の話を聞け。しばらくの間横になってじっくりと休まねえか。本当はミオンの家にかくまってもらった方が安全なんだ。警察からもかくまえるしな。でもそれでもミオンが信用できないってんなら俺の家でもいい。とにかくこんな休めない場所で縮こまってだって心にいいわけがないんだ。まずは俺の家に行こう。そして冷たい飲み物でも飲みながらちょいと熱を冷ましてみないか。そうすりゃレナもすぐに気づくさ。
何を言ってるの圭一くん。私がおかしくなってるって言いたいの？おかしいのはお前たちの方なんだ。お前たちは寄生虫に乗っ取られて知らず知らずのうちに奴らに操られているだけ。圭一くんも傍観者のつもりでいるけど実は被害者の一人なんだよ。それに気づけないのが彼らの狡猾なところ。それを私は責めない。私がきっと圭一くんたちを救ってあげるから、今は私を信じていて。
おかしいのはお前たちの方って。じゃあレナは村が丸ごとおかしくて自分だけが正しいっていうのかよ。
ひなみ沢だけじゃないかもしれないね。もはや奴らの魔種は獅子骨市全域、あるいは県内全域にまで及んでいるかもしれない。でも私だけは正しいの。ミオさんのスクラップのおかげでそれに気づけた。圭一くんだって気づけたんじゃなかったっけ？
待てよレナ。自分以外世界中が全ておかしいって、それってつまりさ、認めてるってことじゃねえかよ。おかしいのは自分だけなんだよ。世界は最初から何も変わってねえし、おかしくもなんともない。ましてやレナの敵でもなんでもない。自分だけが正しくて世界が全部敵なんてことはありえないんだよ。それはつまり自分だけが敵ってことなんだよ。
かわいそうな圭一くん。でも仕方がないよ。ミオさんの真実は誰もが受け入れられるものではない。ミオさん自身この内容が本当に真実かまだ測りかねていた節があったしね。だから圭一くんが受け入れられないことを私は理解できる。だからそんな圭一くんを救うために私は頑張るよ。頑張って戦って必ず圭一くんたちを支配している奴らをやっつけてやるから。
Rena, that's stupid. That's just idiotic. You feel sorry for me? You're stupid. Don't you understand? Why do you still believe a crazy, stupid story like this? You're just interpreting everything to suit your
ミオさ
convenience.
んもリカちゃんも、そして今や私も、もうスペアが用意されてるの。そして 私が消されるのと同時に入れ替わることになっている。
はあ？スペア？お前本気で何を言ってるんだ？
もういいや。圭一君には真実を教えてあげよう。私が圭一君に話してない本当の真実。
What arc are you on?
Hmm?
What arc are you on?
We're on. This would be the last arc of the first season.
実はね、寄生虫の正体は
Aliens.
宇宙人なの。
宇宙人？
うん。お社様の正体ももちろん宇宙人。天から降臨する際の描写は世界各地に散らばる宇宙人説と合致するの。偉大な文明が起こるとき、偉人は必ず宇宙から現れる。彼らは宇宙から優れた英知を持って地球を訪れ、いつまでも未熟な地球人類の進化を促そうと。
Hey, wait just a minute. You must be kidding, right, Rena? The parasite theory was interesting. Aliens? Come on, that's just nonsense. Rena believes this theory so seriously. She feels sorry for me because I can't accept it.
奴らは人体規制を通じてコミュニティを支配してきた。だが時折勘のいい人間が生まれ、その支配の実態を暴こうとした。彼らはそれを取り除き、コミュニティを維持するために様々な拉致を行ったの。そして時には金属片を埋め込みそのコントロールを得たり、あるいは外見だけを共有した別の存在と入れ替えることによって支配を続け、そいつらはミオさんのコピーを生み、私のコピーを生んだ。リカちゃんのコピーもさっき来たんだよ。そいつと話をしてみた。そいつは宇宙から来た存在であることを認めたよ。そして破滅の日が近いことを告白し、私にあがけるものならあがけと嘲笑った。私は戦うよ。人類を奴らの家畜になどしてたまるか。私は絶対に絶対に
I stepped towards Rena and slapped her in the face. I was hoping it would return her to sanity.
目を覚ませレナ、もう忘れたか。まさにこの場所だ。それもほんの数日前だ。俺たち仲間たちはこの場所で全員で手を取り合ったよな。そして仲間は家族同然だって認め合ったよな。
Rena played with her wrist. Didn't interrupt, so I continued.
お前の言う宇宙人が地球を侵略してるって話をお前が本気で言ってるなら、たとえ世界中が信じなくても俺は信じてやる。俺はお前の仲間で一番最初の味方だからだ。でもならお前も聞いてくれ。仲間で味方の俺の言葉を聞いてくれ。あの高野さんのスクラップ帳はでっち上げのインチキなんだよ。本当さ、高野さんはオカルトマニアなんだ。ひなみ沢の古い歴史をいろいろに解釈して遊んで、陳説を書き上げては人に読ませて回ってるだけなんだ。だから寄生虫がどうのこうのという説以外にも UFO がどうこうとか地底人がどうこうなんていうとんでもないのまでたくさんあるんだ。だからレナが読んだスクラップ帳は高野さん自慢の最新作でしかないんだよ。ほら、あの人って人をからかうみたいなところがあるだろう。レナが真面目に話を聞いてくれるもんだから面白がってとんでもない話を吹き込んだだけなんだよ。
単なる創作ならミオさんはどうして殺されたの？しかも検視結果では死後24時間のはずなのに、どうして祭りの夜に歩いていたの？富武さんの死因は？園崎家は？ひなみ沢の伝説は？お社様は？リカちゃんは？全部創作？世界中が私たちを騙すために嘘をついているって、そういうの？
何でもかんでも無理につなげて解釈するな。古代妄想の 典型的な症例じゃねえかよ。とにかく難しく考えるな。レナはちょっと疲れてるだけなんだ。だから少し休もう。俺はレナにくつろげる部屋と布団、食事を提供するだけだ。食事が信用できないなら自前で好きにしてくれたっていい。とにかく俺の言うことを今だけでいいから信じてほしいんだ。
私の言っている話の方が筋も通っているし、証拠も根拠もたくさんある。なのに圭一君は自分を信じてくれの一点張り。どっちが正しいかなんて明白でしょ。
ああ、明白だな。俺だ。俺が正しい。
よくそんなことを言い切れるね。
ああ、そんなのは簡単さ。俺がレナの仲間だからだ。仲間は絶対に裏切らない。仲間を絶対に助ける。だから世界中が俺を正しくないと言っても、今だけは俺を信じろ。俺がお前の仲間だからなんだ。
Heard a thud. Rena dropped the hatchet. She staggered, holding her head in her hands. She was muttering something that looked like she was asking herself questions. He wants me to trust him, but he has no evidence to prove he's right. It's being absurd. Or maybe he's right and I'm wrong. Am I really just misunderstanding everything? It'd be wonderful if that was true. I wish I was wrong so many times. I wish Mio-san's scrapbooks are nothing but a bunch of stories and the parasite doesn't exist. Some coincidences happened to connect them together, and I interpreted them in the wrong way. I really wish that was the case. Don't give up, Renarigu. Be cool, Rena. This guy is poison in his words. He's trying to take advantage of my weakness. Everything is too obvious not to believe. It's obvious that the aliens have been trying to invade the Earth, using this village as their base ever since it was called Onigafuchi. Keiichi's a victim who's being controlled by them. He's just a victim. When he grabbed my wrist really hard on that day, I could tell his intentions were true. I still remember the strength of his grip on my wrist. He tried to save me, his friend. I got lost in this crazy delusional maze many times. I prayed over and over that somebody would help me. And now my prayers are answered, and Keiichi-kun is reaching for my hand again. Don't forget, Rena. This guy says he's your friend, but he hasn't told you everything about himself. Don't you remember Oishi-san told you about it? Told me about what he found out? I couldn't trust my friend, so Oishi checked on everybody, including Keiichi-kun. That's why I know about what he did before he moved here. He looks like he's a good guy on the outside, but he's crazy on the inside. Can't trust him. I shouldn't trust him. So what? I don't care who he was before he moved here. I did many bad things in Ibaraki too. I did many unforgivable things. I hurt my friends really badly, broke the windows at my school, and was suspended. I was a very bad girl. Did he treat me differently because of that? No, he didn't. Renariugu's Renariugu. He'll forgive me because it was Renariugu who did all those bad things in Ibaraki. He won't forgive me. I should know better. Ichimaiba still believes I'm a kind and modest girl because he doesn't know Rena. Found out about Rena, what would he do? He wouldn't do anything. He would be scared of me. Or he wouldn't be scared of me. Rena's Rena, and Rena is a different girl. Same goes with Keiichi-kun. I don't care who he was before he moved here. We're even.
大丈夫か、レナ。
触るな。汚らわしい。
Rena knocked my hand aside when I reached for her.
さっきから聞いていれば仲間とやかましい。仲間だから信じろ？仲間だから世界中すべてより正しいだと？それこそ妄言じゃないか。
なんと言われたって俺はお前の仲間だ。だから絶対にお前のためになることを言っている。疑うな。絶対に俺が正しい。
へえ、じゃあ聞いてもいい？
あ、何でも聞け。
仲間ってのは隠し事なんてないんだよね。
当然だ。隠し事なんかしない。
嘘だよ。
嘘なんかつかない。
嘘だ
何がおかしいよ。
圭一くん、隠し通せてるつもりなんだ。私知ってるんだよ。圭一くんが引っ越してくる直前にどういうことしてたか知ってるんだよ。
Felt as if my entire body was covered in frosty needles. My body and mind froze all of a sudden. I don't believe this. I don't believe it. How come she knows about that?
大石さんに調べてもらったんだよ。みんなのこと。そしたら圭一くん、引っ越しの前はとんでもない人だったんだよね。
やめろ。あれは違うんだ。
ずいぶん悪いことしてたみたいだね。さとこちゃんとリカちゃんにも話しておかないとね。こんな危ない人が身近にいたなんて信じられないよ。
違う。それはたまたまなんだ。
モデルガンで通行人を連続して襲撃。すごい。ひなみ沢村連続開始事件に負けないくらいインパクトあるよ。
違うんだよ。あれは本当に。
何がどう違うの？数週間の間に見ず知らずの通行人を狙って通りがかりにモデルガンで打ちつける。市内一帯は一時期騒然。PTA が交差点ごとに立ち集団下校にもなったんだってね。目に当たって大怪我した人もいたんでしょ。幸い後遺症にはならなかったそうだけど。モデルガンなんて武器を持って誰彼構いなしに面白半分で付け狙ういやらしさ。そんなことして何が楽しかったの？でも楽しかったからずっと続けてたんだよね。そのくせ途中で両親の呵責に耐えられなくなってご両親と一緒に自首。責任取るのもご両親と一緒じゃないとダメなわけ？少年法って親切よね。被害者にも犯人の名前は公開されないし、お父さんが大金持ちだったから示談金をたくさん積んでくれたんだよね。それで大ごとにしない約束を取り付けてまったりとしばらくは保護観察。それでほとぼりが冷めた頃合いにお金に任せて遠方へ引っ越しして全部チャラ。いいねお金持ちは。
違うんだ。
そんなことどうして今まで黙ってたの？前の学校ではずっと勉強漬けだった？どうしてそんな嘘をつくの？
ごめん。嘘ってわけじゃ。
仲間ってのは隠し事なんかなしでしょ？そうでしょ？じゃあお前は仲間じゃない。
Blades of her words hit hard, and they made my eyes bleed. The blood was clear and it tasted
私
salty.
も過去の事件からお前が怪しいと思ってる。それを隠しきれてると思わないで。
I remember how deeply I regretted it. I couldn't regret it enough. I wanted to forget it, but I couldn't. I made a stupid mistake. Why did she have to bring it up now? I apologized and accepted everything. I moved here to put it behind me. I wanted to have a fresh start in Hinamizawa. I swore to myself to live a clean life from then on. Everything is ruined now. I'll be a criminal no matter where I go. I was so stressed out with my exam studies, I was frustrated. I randomly shot people. I didn't care if it was girls or kids. Why did I do something so stupid? There was no reason. I had no reason to do that. I just wanted to get someone's attention. I didn't have the courage to tell my parents I didn't want to study. I just wanted somebody to scold me. I used a childish way to get attention. I regret what I did, and I swear I'll never do something that stupid again. If I do it, they can send me to the chair. there's something I could do to be completely forgiven, I'd do it, no matter what it was. But no matter how deeply I regret it, no matter how long I atone for my sin, I'll never be forgiven. So I wanted to sweep the whole thing under the carpet and have a fresh start. I have nothing to say if somebody tells me that forgetting my sin is an act of cowardice. Sins are sins. You can't just get rid of them. You have to carry them for the rest of your life. I know that's the fate of a sinner. If you want to live like that, don't be a sinner. I understand that logic too. Then, how are the sinners supposed to live?
とにかく、お前は仲間じゃない。仲間じゃない奴の指図は、受ける言われはない。私のことは当分放っておいてもらう。いいね。
I didn't notice until she spoke that I was on my knees, hanging my head. Rena picked up the hatchet she dropped earlier. I wanted her to hit my head with it. Yeah, that's right. If anything's gonna be torn apart, I'd rather it be my body. Compared to the pain of my heart being torn to shreds, I'd rather she cut my head off. I believed it. I still believe it. I still believe it right at this moment. I believe that I'm their friend. But in fact, I'm starting to become aware of it. I want to believe I'm their friend because I don't want to accept my past. I'm trying to tell myself that. I feel stupid crying like this. My face is all messy with tears. I was never their friend. I'm a sinner and I hid my past from them. I hid it because I was scared. I told her that friends don't hide anything from another, and I hid my past from them. I hid my sin from them. My past has nothing to do with how I lived my life here. If I ever attacked a kid in this village just because I was frustrated, I wouldn't mind if they killed me and cut me into pieces. But I'll never do anything like that again. I just want to live normally. What I did before I moved here has nothing to do with my life now. For instance, Rena moved here too. I wouldn't change the way I see her, even if I found out she did something bad before she moved here, right? I wouldn't, would I? Even if Rena beat some of her friends or broke all of the windows of her school, I wouldn't care. It happened in Ibaraki. She didn't do that in Hinamizawa. Rena's Rena and she's my best friend. So I wouldn't see her differently, even if I found out about her past. That's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. I'd keep a distance from her if I found out she really did such things. I'd be scared of her. I wouldn't try to listen to her. Why, it's just a rumor. But I'd be scared of her. She's my best friend. If I was in her situation, would I reject her like she did? Serena's rejection of me was completely natural. What am I supposed to do? I was the only one crying. Rena wasn't crying. She looked at me as if she was looking at something dirty. After giving me a nasty look, she disappeared into the darkness. Rena didn't forgive me. There's nothing I could do to atone for my sin but to keep crying, still down on my knees. Okay, and because there was a lot that just happened there, and we've explored a lot of Rena's background, but less so about Keiichi's, and they just kind of dumped a bunch of that on us. We have a 1 minute tip that I'm sure will explain everything. I don't remember how many years ago it was. There was this beautiful village surrounded by nature. The village was going to be submerged in water because of a new dam project, and the villagers protested against it en masse. Have a good night, Samuses. They held a sightseeing tour so people from other places could enjoy the local beauty. I joined the tour out of simple curiosity. I wanted to take a look at the nature that might sink under the water. When I got there, the place took my breath away. It was so clean and clear, and the landscape was beautiful beyond words. Since then, I was hooked on the inspiring nature of that place. I fell in love with the village so much I was very glad when I heard that the dam project was cancelled. That village is where I'm building our new house. When I visited there, I found a beautiful field of wildflowers. Saw two cute girls playing in that field. Both of them were very beautiful with long, straight hair. They were probably neighbors or best friends. Still remember how they looked. One of them had a very beautiful face with a clear-cut profile for her age, and the other had a pretty innocent look. I'm sure both of them will grow up into fine, beautiful ladies in the future. They were running around that field like they were dancing. I asked them if the field was their playground. They said they were playing in hopes that newcomers would move to the village. And I saw a sign saying lot for sale. That was when I began to think it might be a great place to live. There was nothing here, and things are a bit inconvenient compared to life in a city. I sincerely believe that this was the best place for us to start a new life together as a family. A lot of things happened back in the city, but the past is the past. It's best that we move on. We learn from our mistakes, and hope we can start a new, more ideal life in this village. Keiichi, I hope you'll grow to love it here as much as I do. You do? I'm happy to hear that. I'm also happy that we've been doing a lot better as a family since we moved here. Back in the city we were far from close, so I'm truly happy that we're able to start from scratch. Now that I've come to think about it, I never had a chance to have a conversation with you like this before. Oh, Keiichi. You know any two beautiful girls with long straight hair in your school? I think they're a lot younger than you. Oh, you know, two young, beautiful girls, but one has short hair, huh? I don't think they're the ones I saw. You wanna know why I asked? I just wanted them to be models for my portraits. Thanks, creepy dad. It's just what we wanted to hear. I was thinking about making them wear cute costumes. Basically, I just wanted to see them again for artistic reasons. If you happen to see them, let your dad know, okay? Promise, okay? And then we beat up our dad. Alright, so we'll save here. Okay. So we'll continue. I don't actually know how much is left of the game. I'll have to check after this, because we're definitely not finishing the next chapter, but we will for sure start it. At lunchtime the next day, everybody in class was talking about Rena's disappearance. We're all worried about her safety, but I kept a safe distance from everybody else.
レナはどこに行っちゃったんだろうね。鬼隠しにあったなんていい加減なことを言ってる連中もいるよ。まったく。
ケイチさん、今日は元気がありませんでしたよ。みー。
Sadako and Rika-chan noticed something odd about my attitude. I couldn't sleep at all last night because of what Rena told me. Friends don't keep secrets from one another. That sentence bit into my heart and I couldn't sleep because of the pain.
ミオ、サトコもリカちゃんも話しておきたいことがある。
レナに関すること？
いや、そうじゃない。俺自身についてのことなんだ。
I decided to tell them about it because they were my friends. I didn't know what I was expecting to change by doing so. They might despise me. Was there any benefit in telling them? No, there wasn't. I knew that for sure. I still wanted to tell them about it. Just because I thought it would help heal the pain I was feeling.
ケイチさんのことですの？
ああ、ちょっと真面目な話なんだ。聞いてほしい。俺が引っ越してくる前のことなんだ。当時の俺は勉強しか脳のないやつだった。
I learned the tricks of the game called studying at my cram school. I enjoyed the sense of superiority I felt by getting good grades. I kept studying just because I wanted to look down on the other students. My grades got better, my parents got happier, and my teachers praised me. I felt good. It was fun to look down on the students who were good at running or dodgeball or swimming. That was the only reason I kept studying. Before I knew it, not only was I at the top of my class, I was the top of my school. So I started to think I was the most important student there. I looked down on the kids who were playing in the schoolyard during lunch break. I enjoyed feeling a sense of superiority to them and my insignificance. The more I studied, the better everybody expected me to do. They started to place high hopes on me. They expected me to go to the best school in Japan. I flattered myself in thinking I deserved to go to that school as well. But the fun went out of looking down on people, while the burden of studying didn't change a bit. My classmates stopped admiring my cleverness after a while. My teacher started to push me to study more. All of a sudden, the fun had gone out of it. To begin with, I didn't even like to study. I had average reflexes. I was average in a fight. I was an average boy with nothing that really drew attention. So I found something I could use to get that attention. I jumped on it. It happened to be studying for me. If I was riding a unicycle or juggling, I would have done that too. I realized I didn't enjoy studying anymore. It got very boring. I was just a little boy who wanted to be praised when I did something better than anybody else. I finished all of my summer homework because my parents praised me for it. I took charge of cleaning duties at school because my teachers praised me for it. So when they stopped praising me for what I did, I began to feel as though my life had no meaning. My parents used to give me an allowance that was proportional to how good my grades were, so I used to get a substantial amount of money from my age. I don't know if I had a natural interest in violence, or I was just looking for it because of my frustration at the time. I took an interest in BB guns. First, I shut up cardboard boxes, and it was fun. Being violent at pieces of cardboard relieved a lot of stress. Nobody blamed me for doing that. But soon, I started wanting to do something I should never have done. On the box that my BB gun came in was a warning label that read, "Do not shoot at people." That was when I thought about doing just that. Why did I do something I shouldn't have? Guess I was just immature. I wasn't interested in studying anymore, but I forced myself to do so anyway. My parents forced me to go to several cram schools, and I was mad at them for that. I should have told them I didn't want to study anymore. I didn't have the courage to do that. So I used my frustration as an excuse to do something cowardly. I shot at kids who were younger than I with my BB gun. It gave me such a thrill. It felt so good to do something bad, and I was so overcome with studying. Needless to say, I had no personal grudge against the kids I shot. As long as the kids passed through a deserted street, they met the requirements to become my target. I didn't mean to hurt them. I shot at them once or twice from a distance. That was all I wanted to do. Sometimes they didn't react at all because the BBs hit a thicker part of their clothes or something. I didn't like that, so I started to shoot until they noticed they were being hit. It inevitably escalated into a barrage of gunfire. I study a lot. I'm doing something good. I deserve to do something bad to balance out the good I'm doing. That was the unbelievably selfish excuse I made. I thought I had the right to do things like that because I was suffering myself. I thought people who weren't suffering like I was deserved to be shot at and to get hurt a little bit. I was so selfish, so arrogant, and so immature. I was disgusted with myself. If I could have met myself at that time, I'd have given myself a punch in the face so hard I'd knock out all my teeth. They started to call it a series of attacks on school children. The principal of my school held a morning assembly to inform everyone about the case and warned them to be careful when playing outside. I was laughing sneakily. The PTA issued a letter of warning and advice to take the safest way to and from school. Parents took turns watching kids when they were walked between home and school in groups. The more serious it got, the more it reminded me of the excitement I first felt when my grades started going up. I was absorbed in that game I was playing. I didn't think that I'd get caught someday. I didn't even think to stop doing it either. One day, I found a little girl who was walking down a narrow, dark street all alone. She was a very small girl. I don't know if she was on her way to a friend's house or if she was running an errand. I didn't care which. It was careless of her to go out alone. The school had warned her not to, so it was her fault. Just like always, I made a selfish excuse and attacked her. Some of the shots hit her in the back. You know she was being attacked by somebody. She turned around. It was a natural reaction. At that time, I didn't hesitate to rain hell upon her. When she turned around, I was still shooting at her. Usually when I shot at a kid, she cried in pain and ran away. This girl was different. Thrashed around in excruciating pain, holding one of her eyes. When I saw her doing that, I realized what had happened right away. BB had hit her in the eye. Until that moment, I didn't think about what would happen when a pellet that could easily go through a cardboard box hit an eyeball. Anyway, the girl howled in pain. For the first time, I realized I had done something horrible. She saw me, so I couldn't take her to the hospital. I couldn't do anything about it. I left her there while she was still screaming in pain. Wondered if she was okay. I worried that she lost her eye. I kept thinking about her, and I didn't even feel like eating that day. I went to the bookshelf in our living room and snuck a medical book to my room and studied the structure of the human eye. It's too late to make a difference, but I studied what kinds of injuries would make a person lose their vision. I knew it wouldn't make the sin I committed weigh any less, even if I found out that she wouldn't lose her sight. I couldn't sleep that night, and I suffered from a high fever. It wasn't my parents, my teachers, or the police who first punished me for what I did. It was my own body. Before dawn, I woke my parents up and confessed to my sin. They were shocked at first, but it seemed like they understood the situation quickly due to my recent disobedient behavior and my interest in BB guns. My mom cried hysterically. My dad slapped me in the face till it swelled up. Before the sun came up, I turned myself into the police, accompanied by my parents. Sadako stared at me with a stunned expression. I deserved to receive that kind of look. What I did was very wrong, and I needed to accept that.
それ、本当ですの？
ああ、本当だ。今まで隠していて悪かった。
なんでそんなことを今頃になってわざわざ言おうと思ったわけ？
Mion asked me. Rika-chan nodded in agreement.
本音から言うとさ、ケイちゃんどうしたのって感じかね。
まあ、そりゃそうだよな。
違うよ。そんなことわざわざ言い出す必要あったのかなってね。
いや、隠し事をするなんて仲間じゃないよな。俺はみんなのことを仲間だと思ってる。だからもう隠してなんかいられなかったんだ。
圭一はそれを僕たちに話して何を期待しているのですか？
期待なんて別にないよ。俺はただ
許しが欲しくても僕にはあげられないのです。圭一が怪我をさせた人たちにしか。それだから僕たちにそれを話しても何の期待にも応えられないのですよ。
リカの言う通りですわね。潔いのは認めますけれど、そんなことを私たちに打ち明けてどうしたいって言うんですの？
どうしたいってことはないよ。ただ仲間に隠し事は。
My friends looked annoyed by the sudden confession of my past. I took it as bitter medicine. I got what I deserved.
ケイちゃんさ、ちょいとここで質問なんだけどさ、仲間に隠し事ってしたらいけないわけ？
え？
ケイちゃんの論法だと隠し事をしないのが仲間みたいな話だけどさ、おじさんはそんなの嫌だね。
僕も嫌です。
Mion and Rika-chan obviously disagreed with my statement. Sadako nodded, following suit.
言いたくないことを言わないで何が悪いわけ？人には話したくないことや辛いこと、悲しいこと、失敗したことや思い出したくないことがたくさんある。それを全部打ち明けないと仲間と呼べないんなら、私はそんな仲間はいらないね。
でもそれじゃあ。
圭一、打ち明けなくていいことと打ち明けなくてはならないことは違いますのです。罪は許しを得るために打ち明けなくてはならない。でも打ち明けて許された罪はもう打ち明ける必要はないのですよ。
そうですわね。だって圭一さんはちゃんとおまわりさんのところに行って怒られてきたんでございましょう。それで償いをして許してもらえたなら、それで圭一さんの罪はおしまいですわよ。
自首してその結果を受け入れたなら、それでケイちゃんのお務めは終わりだよ。もちろんケイちゃんが罪の十字架を背負い続けることはとても大切なこと。二度と過ちを繰り返さないよう 常に胸に刻み続けるのは正しいことだよ。でもね、それはケイちゃんが自戒することであって、打ち明けなくちゃいけないことではない。
そうですわよ。過去の恥ずかしい話なんかは私も内緒にしたいことがたくさんございましたよ。聡子は特にいっぱいいっぱいありますのです。私だけじゃございませんのよ。リカもですわよ。リカもですわよ。み
Sadako and Rika-chan fooled around with each other like they always did. Mion looked at them, and then looked back at me.
今、聡子はとてもいいことを言ったと思う。ケイちゃんにはどの部分かわかる？
過去の話は内緒にしたいというところか？
違う違う。その次の部分。誰にだってあるってところだよ。無菌室の試験管の中で育った人間でもない限り、人の人生は試行錯誤の繰り返しだと思う。いいことも悪いことも、いろいろなことを繰り返して成長して、それで最後の最後に素晴らしい人間になれればいいんじゃない？いいことも悪いことも、すべてとても大切な経験なんだと思う。それは誰でも同じで、ケイちゃんだけじゃない。私にも、聡子にも、リカちゃんにも。いやいや、クラスの全員にも当てはまることなんだよ。
例えば、ミーはもっと昔は札付きの悪猫さんだったのですよ。にゃーにゃー。
This bit is partially lost in translation. Rika likes to describe bad people as bad kitties, so she specifically calls Mion used to be a bad kitty, which is why she meows after.
まあ本当はあんまり言いたかないんだけどね。私から見ればモデルガンで闇討ちなんてかわいいもんだって。私なんかレンガとか投げつけてたよ。いや、警察に何度お世話になったことやら。ダム戦争の最中はちょっとした留置場常連だったよ。いやいや本当に。
でも昔のことなのですよ。そしてそれを圭一に言う必要はないのです。仲間であってもなのです。
仲間であっても？
私だってとても言えないような苦い過ちや罪がいくつもあります。でも言わないのは言っても仕方がないからですわ。
言って楽になるなら私たちは聞くよ。でもね、仲間だから言わなければならないなんてルールはない。むしろ仲間なら言いたくない過去を察してあえて聞かないのが本当の仲間なんじゃない？
それはそうだけど。
ケイちゃんが打ち明けて楽になったならそれでいいよ。私たちは今日の話をすぐにでも忘れる。それに今日の話を聞いたからケイちゃんとの接し方を変えるようなこともない。
圭一が前の町でしたことなんて今の圭一と何の関係もないのです。今の圭一が僕たちにとってかけがえのない仲間であるのなら、前の町のことなんか僕は知りたくないのですよ。リカの言う通りでございますわ。逆に前の町でどんなに善行を積もうとも、こちらに来て嫌な人だったなら前の町の善行なんかしたことじゃありませんわね。
ってことはさ、ケイちゃん、前の町での十字架はケイちゃんが密かに胸に秘めることであって、こっちでわざわざ口にする必要なんてないんじゃない？いや、仮に口にしてもだ。それでケイちゃんの見方を変える程度のやつだったら、私はそいつの方を見下げるね。
過去が何だろうと今が素晴らしい人間であるならば、どうして恥じることがございますの？もし過去の過ちを一生取り戻せなかったら、私たちは何のために生き続けますの？聡子は過去にとても甘えん坊さんでした。それを後悔して今はこんなにも元気で頑張っていますのです。だから僕は今の聡子はとても素晴らしいと思いますです。昔どうだったかなんて僕は興味ないのです。リカ。
ケイちゃんだってどうよ。例えば私が留置場常連の札付きだとしたら、私への見方を変える？変えないでしょ。私は私。いつものように楽しくふざけ合える関係は何も変わらないでしょ。それが仲間ってもんだもん。
Going on. Ian was trying to cheer me up with an encouraging smile on her face, but her expression became distorted all of a sudden. Big teardrops fell from my eyes. Why am I crying?
先に言っとく。俺はサトシのことは何も知らない。みんなが隠してたからな。
隠してたってわけじゃ。
毎年起こる事件のこと隠してたろ。
それはケイちゃんを
怖がらせたくなかったってのか？それが理由で俺だけのけ者かよ。
いや、そんなつもりじゃ。
Mion didn't know what to say. She had tears in her eyes. She thought she did me a favor. She didn't know why it turned out like this. She didn't want to make me scared of the village since I'd just moved here. What more reason did she
ミオン
need?
に直にダム現場で事件がなかったかって聞いたよな。ミオンはないって言ったじゃないか。バラバラ殺人があったのによ。嘘つき野郎。
ごめん、嘘ってわけじゃ。
仲間ってのは隠し事なんかなしだろ。そうだろ。じゃあお前らは仲間じゃない。
What are friends? What were friends to me? They were my true friends. They really cared about me. They were so nice to me and helped me feel at home in this village. Couldn't have been happier. Everything was great, wasn't it?
ケイちゃん、そんなのって。
Mion seemed like she didn't know what to say. Her eyes looked moist. It's hard to believe she was really acting like this. It wasn't like Mion at all. I could feel her pain. She was in pain because she didn't know what I was blaming her for. She looked so sad, but I didn't notice her pain. I thought I was her friend. I didn't understand her feelings, and I didn't trust her. I just used the word friends, but I didn't do anything like friends were supposed to.
俺はクズだったんだ。ミオンはミオンだったんだ。俺の最高の仲間だったんじゃないか。どうしてミオンを疑っちまったんだ。どうして。
ケイちゃんさ、最近元気ないよね。
都会から引っ越してきたんだもん。きっと今頃になって疲れが出てきたんだよ。それで風邪をひいたんじゃないかな。
そっかそっか。じゃあ栄養をつけさせてあげないとね。
Did it just change art styles there? I need to go take a look at that later. To art styles.
バッチャが今日おはぎを作ってるんだよ。いくつか分けてもらってケイちゃんへのお見舞いにでもしてあげるか。
こんなみよ、手を洗んとね。おいやレナちゃん、一つやってるんかい。
へえ、おはぎ作りって面白そうですね。レナも一つだけ作らせてもらおうかな。よいしょよいしょ。
そうだそうだ、いいこと思いついたよ。
なにみーちゃん。あ、その小瓶何かな。
甘いおはぎだけじゃ退屈しちゃうだろうからね。うち一つにはクリティカルヒットでタバスコを混ぜておいてあげよう。
Specifically, she says Tabasco, not hot sauce. That's right, that's what happened. Brought Ohagi for me to help get better. They only tried to cheer me up. So why did I get so scared of them? Because Mion knew I had lunch at Angel Moor, I grew terrified of her.
ケイチくん、顔色悪いよ。もう横になった方がいいと思うな。
そうだね。私たちはもう帰ろう。
They just wanted to cheer me up with a joke, because I look so serious.
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
Please get better soon. I hope we can hang out in the club together tomorrow. A normal way of saying goodbye.
明日、学校休んじゃ嫌だよ。
First of all, have I ever visited any of my classmates who were absent with a cold? No, I haven't. Never done such a nice thing to anybody because it's too much of a bother. They did that for me. I understand visiting a friend in a hospital, but I just caught a cold. They came to visit me with Ohagi so that I could get better soon. Should have been thankful to them and say I'll get better soon. I'm sure I can come to school tomorrow. I'll see you then. That's what I was supposed to say. What did I do instead? I locked the door. I closed the door and locked it as if rejecting them. What was I so scared of? What was I so afraid of? Why didn't I say any words of appreciation to my friends who cared about me? I was just so scared of the ohagi they brought for me. What was I thinking? It was impossible that there was a needle in one of them. There wasn't actually a needle at all. It was all in my head because I'd read some manga about someone putting needles or razor blades in people's food. It scared me so much that I believed it could also happen to me. For some reason, I thought there was a needle in the ohagi. You're so stupid, Keiichi. Why would your friends put a needle in food if they only brought it to make you get better? It was crazy to think like that. Even if there was a needle in one of them, I should have thought it was some kind of mistake. I should have believed in my friend's innocence. What a true friend would do. But what did I do? Just murder. I threw the ohagi that they spent so much effort making on the floor, against the wall too. Why? Why did I do that? I got along so well with them. I moved to Hinamizawa and I made friends for the first time in my life. They were my best friends. Meeting them was the most wonderful experience of my life, and I probably never have one like that for the rest of my days. I knew that, but I got scared and doubted them. They noticed that I was acting odd. That's why they called the manager Irie. They thought a sedative might help me relax so I could get better and rest. That's why they carried me up to my room. Mion just wanted to make it fun. She's the kind of person who expresses her goodwill by making a joke out of it. I knew that better than anybody. She knew Irie would roll up my shirt to check my heartbeat with a stethoscope. She was just trying to draw graffiti on my shirt. Just like she did to Tomotaki-san as punishment for the game he lost. Yes, that's why Mion took a felt marker out of her pocket. A felt marker. She brought a marker from home because she just wanted to do something funny. She tried to cheer me up by making me take a punishment for fun rather than nursing me. So that's just what Mion is like. She went to the trouble of bringing a felt marker to my house, just because she wanted to cheer me up. Rena held me down tightly, and Mion came closer to me to write something on my shirt. Mion whispered the words she was going to write on my shirt. I heard them. I heard them clearly. I heard what she was going to write on my shirt. I hope you get well soon, Mion. I heard them. Then why? Should have known she wasn't going to do anything to hurt me. And why? Why did the marker look like a syringe to me? Why did I think that Mion was going to kill me? It was impossible. Why? Why did I misunderstand that Mion was going to kill me? The numbness in my head receded, and slowly I felt blood start to run through my entire body again. How long was I squatting down there? For a few minutes, or a lot longer than that? I looked up at the clock. The hands weren't moving at all, as if they'd stopped while I had my eyes closed. Really? The atmosphere in the room wasn't filled with insanity like it was earlier, but it was quiet and gray. Rena wasn't holding me down, and Mion wasn't about to give me an injection. Was all of that just some kind of illusion? There was no sense of presence other than myself in that room. It was an extraordinary experience, the kind I'd never had before. I was there with Rena and Mion. I doubted my sanity for a moment, but at the same time, I felt some kind of relief, too. The scary incident was just an illusion after all. Neither Rena nor Mion would have done such a terrible thing to me. Tears started forming in my eyes. My emotions were running high. Why? It wasn't a question of why tears were forming in my eyes. It's a question of my sadness. Why did I feel so sad? I don't know. You don't know? What do you mean you don't know? You do know. I was so stupid. What the hell was I doing? I was so pathetic and helpless. Ian just tried to cheer me up, that was all. I liked her so much. She was my best friend. She was older than me, but she hung out with me like we were the same age. She was the first one who came to talk to me in class. She was so nice to me, but Mion was lying down in an unnatural position near the window. She was covered in dusky red blood from her head to her chest. The red fluid splattered on the wall was Mion's. What had I done? I would never forgive myself.
みんなのこと、本当に友達だと思ってたんだぜ。
Why did all this happen? There's nothing fun in my life at my old school. When I talk to anyone, it's only ever about my chances of passing the entrance exams of the schools we wanted to go to. My life was shaded and gray. Friends to me were rivals and enemies to vie with for a school recommendation and test scores. My friends here taught me just how unnatural that was. This whole month was a blast. We raised the roof over lunch, our club activities, and the festival. A warm liquid flowed out from my eyes. To my surprise, it was my tears. I didn't have any obligation to cry for them, but I couldn't stop it. Even though they attempted to kill me, even though they almost killed me. I couldn't forget the memories we made during the past month. Were those fun days fake? It's an act that they kept playing perfectly to set me up until today. It was only me who believed that they were my friends. Couldn't be. Ren and Mion, they were my friends for real. Those happy days couldn't have been just a performance. Ren and Mion must have been forced by somebody to kill me. Or that an extraordinary circumstance called Oyashiro-sama possessed them and took control over their consciousness. No matter what it was, both Ren and Mion were my best friends. I was stupid. I was such a fool. Such a fool. I wasn't making any sense at all. I killed my best friends. They were my best friends. Why didn't I trust them? Why didn't I listen to them? Beat them to death. Who did I think I was? Made it sound like I didn't do anything wrong. Felt like everybody went crazy except me. I was such a fool. It was the other way around. Of course it was. I was the only one who went crazy.
ケイちゃん？
俺はなんてことをしてしまったんだよ。なんてこと。
Mion was still alive. I remember beating her to death because I couldn't trust her. It's a memory from a non-existent different world. Even though it happened in a different world, I killed Mion. I didn't realize how deep that sin was. I even thought until now that Mion was at fault for being killed.
どうしたんですの、ケイチさん？わかんない。ケイちゃん、落ち着いて落ち着いて。私は生きてるよ。ケイちゃんになんか殴り殺されてたまるかっての。ねえ。そうですわよ。ケイチさんごときに遅れを取るようなのは我が部にはおりませんでしたよ。
違うんだ。違うんだ。
Mion and Sadako looked confused, having no idea why I was crying. I couldn't help myself. I learned just now that I could earn redemption by confessing my sin. I could never earn redemption for this, not from Mion. No matter how much I cried in this world, nobody could give me forgiveness. So I could never earn redemption for this sin. Right then, Chie-sensei came in and noticed me crying. You wouldn't see a teenage boy crying like that very often. Chie-sensei asked me what was going on. At that moment, I couldn't hear anything. Mion and Sadako looked confused. They didn't know how to explain the situation. Rika-chan approached me in the midst of my sobs.
ケイチは覚えているのですか？レナとミーを殺したことを。
そうだ！俺が殺したんだ！殺したんだ！なのに俺は何の罪も認めずに、まるで自分は被害者のつもりで、死ぬ最後の瞬間まで仲間を呪って恨んで血がいっぱい出て、そして結局何の後悔もなく一人で勝手に死んだ。
I clawed at my itchy throat in a phone booth. I didn't notice my sin, and I died alone.
ケイチ、あなたの罪に気づきましたのですか？
気づいた。 こんなにも今頃になって、俺は気づいたよ。ここじゃない、別のよく似た世界で、俺はなぜか仲間たちに疑心暗鬼を持って殺してしまったんだ。仲間たちは俺に救いの言葉をかけていたはずなんだ。なぜそれに耳を傾けられなかった？どうしてだよ。
I didn't care if people were staring. I just kept crying. I wanted to transmute my sin to tears in order to squeeze it out of me. But the tears that were coming out from my eyes weren't my sin. They were just tears of regret for doing something irreversible. That time, I felt something touching my head. I opened my eyes and saw Rika-chan patting my head gently. I didn't need any comfort. I didn't deserve any comfort from Rika-chan. The words she spoke to me weren't ones of comfort.
ケイイチを許しましょう。ケイイチは自分で自分の罪に気づきましたのです。それはとても偉くて普通ではありえないことなのです。だから誰もケイイチの偉さがわからなくて、それを許してあげることはできませんのです。でも僕にはそれを許すことができます。僕にはケイイチの凄さがわかるのです。
リカちゃん、
私はこれだって、これはありえないことなのだもの。あなたが別の自分の罪に気づくなんて。なのにあなたはそれに気づけた。それはきっとこの地上に具現するどんな奇跡すらも霞むほどのもので、信じられないくらい尊いもの。
I didn't understand anything Rika-chan was saying. I felt like she was the only one who understood that impossible memory I had.
今のあなたにならわかるはず。リュウグウレナがどういうことになっているのか。
ああ、わかるぜ。あの時の俺と同じなんだ。仲間のことを信じたくてしょうがないのに、信じられないんだ。どんどん自分がおかしくなっていくのに、そいつがわからなくて世界の方がおかしくなったって信じてやがるんだ。どうすりゃ救えるかなんてわからねえよ。わからないんだ。だって俺はダメだった。結局死ぬまで、いや死んでも気づけなかったんだ。それをレナに気づかせるなんてどうやって。救えないよ、救えない。俺がそうだったからよくわかるんだ。どうやったってもう救えないんだ。
Calm down, Keiichi. I did fail. It didn't mean Rena would too. It's no excuse to not save her because I thought she'd fail. After all, what did Rena do back then? I was totally going mad, but she risked her life to save me. In my room in that world, I'd beaten her many times with a metal bat. She was smiling. She knew I was scared. That's why she smiled for me. I beat her so many times, her arms were broken and her forehead was cut open. I remembered, Rena didn't block her head, even at the very last moment. She opened her arms towards me, like she was looking for a hug. I still doubted her, and raised the metal bat up high. Rena told me then that it was okay.
私を信じて。
My friend still told me to believe in her. She told me to trust her. If I didn't, I lost it and attacked her. She was in danger. She was actually killed. She didn't even block her head. Instead, she used her arms to reach out for me. Rena continued to say those words until the moment she died. Trust me. She trusted me. She risked her life to save me until her very last moments. She kept telling me to believe in her. But I didn't listen. For so long, I truly believed that I didn't do anything wrong.
リカちゃんに許してもらえて少し心が軽くなった。でもやっぱり俺の罪は同じ。レナの目は俺が覚ます。
Rena risked her life to save me. Cared about me until her very last moments. She trusted me. I believed that her words would reach my heart, so she kept saying them until I cracked her skull. I don't care if I die. Rena died for me. I can die for her too. I was such a fool for failing to understand my friend's feelings. That's why I didn't understand what she was saying. But Rena might be different.
もうおかしくなっちまった。でも、だからといって諦めていいなんてことはねえんだよな。諦めるってことは信じないってことだ。俺はレナを、仲間の絆を信じるぜ。だからまだ間に合うんだ。惨劇は回避できる。運命には抗える。俺たちはあがく。そして掴めるんだ。その先の。
Rika-chan nodded with a serious look on her face. She put her hand in the pocket of her skirt.
ケイチ、私も諦めない。この世界から希望を失ってたまるものか。私は数えきれない失敗に疲れ果ててた。だから世界がおかしくなることに諦めを感じるようになってた。だからもうレナがどうなろうと知ったことではないと。でもそれを戦おうとする意志がこんなにも美しく神々しくて、そして運命すらねじ曲げかねない奇跡だから、私はあなたと共に戦おう。もう一度戦おう。何度でも戦おう。その先の未来に至れるまで。
リカとケイチさんが何の話をしてるのかさっぱりわかりませんでしたよ。
覚えていないのは当然なのです。ケイチがすごいだけなのですよ。
私の高尚な脳みそではさっぱりでしたよ。
Rika-chan touched Sadako's forehead to hers.
でもいつかは思い出してあげてください。あなたが抗えぬ不幸の袋小路にとらわれた時、ケイチはあなたを救おうと全身全霊をかけて戦ってくれたことを。
ケイチさんがですの？眉唾でございますわよ。
ね、ケイチ。
Rika-chan looked at me, smiling as if waiting for my agreement. I wasn't sure if I could risk my life for Sadako. No, I was sure I'd risk my life for her. Sadako was my friend. Anybody who tried to make her happy, I'd beat them up without hesitation. I'd risk my life to save her. There might have even been a world like that. I nodded to Rika-chan. Rika-chan nodded back to me, looking happy.
前原くん、何かありましたか？
Since I realized I'd finally calmed down, she asked me
いえ、
that.
なんでもないんです。騒がせてすみませんでした。それより、ミオ。
何？
I walked towards her. She stepped back, not knowing what was going on. She bumped into the blackboard.
何、ケイちゃん、マジな顔でどうしたの
I held my gun tightly. She still didn't know what was going on, and her face turned red. Sprung on her shoulder, I told her the following.
本当にすまなかった。
何がよ、ケイちゃん。おじさん、本当に何のことかわかんないよ。
わかんなくてもいい。わかんなくてもいい。わかんなくてもいいから。聞いてくれ。本当にすまなかった。そして、おはぎ。うまかったぜ。本当にうまかった。元気が出た。だから、俺、明日からちゃんと学校に通えるから、また明日も学校で会おうなって。それが言えなくて、今日まで感謝の言葉が遅れて本当にすまなかった。俺はミオを、いや仲間を誰だろうと二度と疑わない。二度とだ。絶対にだ。だからミオ、あの日の俺をどうか許してくれ。
You must have had no idea what I was talking about. Of course, I didn't either. I didn't understand what I was talking about, but my sin wasn't forgiven yet. I need to confess my sin in order to receive her
ミオンが命を
forgiveness.
かけてくれたことを俺は知ってる。だからいつかミオンに何かの不幸が訪れたら俺は絶対に命をかけて助けるからな。絶対だ。約束する。
ケイちゃん照れるな。
Mion's face was bright red. She didn't know what was going on. Sadako was blushing too, with a confused look on her face. Rika-chan and I understood everything. We weren't going to accept a tragedy. We didn't give up just because the world was going out of order. We were going to fight against fate to the very last moment. Mion fought for me. Rena fought for me. Why, I was going to fight for Rena. Just like she did for me, I was going to risk my life to save her. And that is where we are going to call it for tonight.